Good evening. Time has now arrived. I call the meeting of the school committee to order for today, Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, and it's approximately 7:21. If you could all please rise and help us salute our beautiful flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And colleagues and friends, if you could just please remain standing for a moment of silence in remembrance of our departed member of this committee. Brett Gormley served this community well. He has passed on, so I wish for all of us to have a moment of silence. May his soul rest in peace. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the meeting of the school committee. This agenda that we'll be discussing today is right up here. And also to let you know that this meeting is being broadcast on Comcast Channel 8 and Channel 1071 HD, and also on YouTube. Before we begin, let me establish a quorum. I am here. Mr. Pina?
Here.
Ms. Azak?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mr. Gomes? Ms. Oliver?
Here.
Mr. Gomes?
Here.
And Ms. Centello?
Here.
We're all here. All right, so we have quite a few visitors here today. So the first one on the list is Tony Mazzoni. If you could just come up and state your name and residence for the clerk.
Hello, my name is Tony Mazzone. This is my 9th year working as a speech-language pathologist assistant, or an SLPA. I've always worked in preschool. Right now I work at the Barrett Russell Early Childhood Center. In years past, I have worked with elementary and middle school age students with various disabilities. I would often drive to multiple schools in one day. I've also worked in the extended school year from 2016 to 2024, providing speech-language services during the summer. And in 2017, I received my master's in education with a specialization in assistive technology. Some SLPAs, as well as certified occupational therapy assistants, or COTAs, are here to explain what we do and what our responsibilities are. In October 2025, we received an email that the school committee determined we do not get a raise for this school year. We are unsure why this happened. As a speech-language pathologist assistant, I have many responsibilities. It is my job to provide speech and language therapy to all my students on my caseload. My caseload is 69 students right now. It is always increasing, but right now there's 69 students. And I'm responsible for providing the speech language services according to their IEP. I provide speech language therapy to students in substantially separate classrooms and integrated classrooms. I take students out of class to provide individual or small group therapy. I also consult with teachers and support staff as needed. It is my responsibility to create and execute effective therapy activities for my students to achieve their IEP goals. I am well versed in lesson picks, boom learning, teachers pay teachers, everyday speech, and SLP Now, to name a few. I must be familiar with apps on my iPad. Some of my students have their own device to communicate, and I'm responsible for using their device or iPad during therapy. I'm responsible for taking care of equipment such as activated toys and buttons at the Barrett Russell. I'm also safety care trained. This helps de-escalate and eliminate negative and physical behaviors, which many of my students need help with. I also take courses in continuing education. I completed an online ASL course through the Oklahoma School for the Deaf. In addition, I am currently first aid and CPR certified. I do not have to take these things or continuing education courses, but I'm always willing to do so if it means I can do my job better and provide paramount therapy. I attend IEP meetings, update goals on the student's IEP, and complete progress reports. I do logging for my students for billing purposes and receive no incentive where other therapists do. It is my responsibility to take data and recommend their services for ongoing services at their IEP meeting. I make sure students receive accommodations and methodologies written in their IEP. I communicate with parents and other therapists to send home and provide strategies. I attend other meetings that come up in school, such as IST meetings. I attend parent-teacher conferences. It is my responsibility to make sure my caseload and schedule and monthly reports are always up to date.
Your time is up.
Can I just finish real quick?
Go ahead.
Our last contract was signed in December 2023. We used to get a raise that was the same as the teachers. This year, the BEA got a 3% raise and we got nothing. I believe we're the only non-union group that did not get a raise this school year.
Thank you, Ms. Mazzone. Up next, we have Charlene Valdez.
I'm going to try to talk fast. Hello, my name is Charlene Valdez. I'm a CODA-related service provider for the Brockton Public Schools since 1997. We are here to present our case on why we deserve a raise and change to our contract. This is the first year since 1997 we did not receive a percentage increase to our salary. When we first started at related service providers, we received the same percentage as teachers. In 2004-2005 school year, we changed from hourly employees to salary employees. We have 7 steps in our salary structure, and our contract stated in further years, salary increases would be added to our steps. There were some years that we didn't get the percentage in September, but we've always received the percentage increase to our contract. Through the years, I have exchanged emails with Kathy Moran, prior to that, Kathy Seabrice, and superintendents in regards to our salary and contract. But this is the first year that, since 1997, that we have not received a percentage increase in salary. As related service provider assistants, we do a lot for the district. In October, when we received the email, stating that we are not getting an increase in our salary for the 25-26 school year, Kathy Moran stated that it was the school committee's decision, and that is why we are here today. She also stated that she did not know if this would occur every year, so that is why we're presenting ourselves today. Currently, we are paying outside agencies probably double or triple to supply the school system with therapists that we are getting paid without an increase to our salary, which is not fair, and I do not understand why. As a CODA, I attend meetings, we write IEP goals and objectives with the OTR's knowledge, we implement service delivery on the IEP, communicate with parents, attend parent-teacher conferences during the school day, screen students and provide information to the OTR and teachers. We are able to administer standardized tests that the OTR interprets with data and then writes up the evaluation. We consult with teachers, staff, and parents. We write progress notes 5 times a year. We write daily notes on our students. We log on Easy IEP, and we continue to do interventions through modalities that best help our students reach their goals and objectives. We service a variety of students with complex medical needs, sensory needs, fine motor, eye-hand coordination, visual perceptual, visual motor, ADLs. We use adaptive equipment. We use technology to assist in their memory, concentration, and executive functioning skills. We use technology, social emotional learning, and reduce the barriers that our students are able to fully reach their educational goals. As a CODA, I am board certified through MBCOT and licensed in Massachusetts. As licensed and board certified, I'm required to take continuing education classes every 2 years. We are valuable related service providers for Brockton. We give a lot to our students in this community. We deserve to be recognized for the job that we do for our students, and we deserve a raise. and changes to our contract. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Valdez.
Thank you.
Patricia Kennedy?
Mayor Rodriguez, Superintendent, members of the school committee, thank you for listening to me. My name is Tricia Kennedy, and I'm an occupational therapist currently in my 19th year working for the Brockton Public Schools. I'd like to speak today in support of the OT assistants, PT assistants, and speech and language pathology assistants. In particular, for the next few seconds, I'm going to talk about the OT assistants as I work most closely with them. Occupational therapy assistants, as Ms. Valdez said, are nationally board certified. They are also state licensed through the Massachusetts Board of Allied Health Professionals. They must continually participate in professional development and maintain their national certification and state license. As an occupational therapist in Brockton, I have benefited from being a member of the Brockton Education Association. But for 19 years, I have wondered and asked, why aren't the CODAs, the PT assistants, and the speech and language assistants allowed to enter into some union? I still don't know. I'm still wondering. This school year, the BEA and the school committee of Brockton negotiated a contract for their members, which will result in members getting regular raises for 3 years. Unfortunately, the CODAs, PTAs, SLPAs are not members of a union. They do not have an organization working on their behalf. This means that they have no collective bargaining. This year, the OTAs, PTAs, and SLPAs were given no raise at all, and they were told this was a decision made by the school committee. Let's think about that. According to the Bureau of Statistics, the rate of inflation for 2025 and 2026 was 2.4%. And yet the Brockton School Committee gave these dedicated employees no raise. The cost of gasoline has gone up almost $1 a gallon since February, and yet these dedicated employees got no raise. These dedicated employees come to work every day, work hard every day to help our students achieve their goals, their IEP goals. And how does this school committee show their appreciation to these dedicated hard workers who do not enjoy the benefits and protection of a union? The school committee chose to give them no raise. If this happened to you or one of your family members, I'm sure you would think, this is not fair. In my opinion, this is not fair. And in my opinion, the school committee in Brockton and the city of Brockton owe it to these dedicated, hardworking OT assistants, PT assistants, and SLP assistants to do better by them. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mrs. Kennedy. Up next, Kevin Mooney.
Good evening. Yes, my name is Kevin Mooney, and I've worked in the district now for 7 years. I've worked as a full-time physical therapist in public schools for 25 years, 9 of which in the largest special ed school in New York City, 9 years in suburban towns in Massachusetts, and for the last 7 years here in Brockton. And when I came to Brockton, I was very pleasantly surprised compared to my other city experience. Compared to New York City, I was very pleasantly surprised at the level of therapy and the teacher's education and the teacher's skill dealing with severely special ed students, people with very special needs. And I want to say I've been to almost every single public school in the district over the course of my 7 years here, and the level of skill provided by these CODAs and these SLPAs, I see it every single week. I've seen therapists are known, work with 1, 2, 3, 4 students in a small classroom or in a small office, and they provide an extremely effective, high level of skill with these children. I see it here every week. In Miss Zamboni's room, there's an SLPA that comes in and provides an extremely high level of service, speech therapy to the entire class at once. So not only are they working very hard and they're very dedicated, but they are extremely effective, and they're not just working one-on-one with students. I think Brockton is getting a lot of bang for their buck with these therapists, and I just want you to know that when you take into consideration whether to give them a raise or not. They're, like I said, they're very effective. I've seen it, and I've had a lot of experience in public schools and in special ed, and I wouldn't have driven back another hour here to come if I didn't feel very strongly about the fact that they really do deserve a raise. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next, Danae and Lloyd Lamar.
Hello, my name is Lloyd Lamar. This is my wife, Danae Lamar. We have 4 children. 3 of them are adult children who have gone through the public school system here in Brockton. And our youngest, William, he's autistic. And we have basically gone through quite a bit with his schooling. And we've come to basically bring to your attention that there are some deficiencies as a result. And school committee, I want you to notice that there's a theme here. I could not have planned this any better. The theme is that there's a need, especially when it comes with our most vulnerable population, our most marginalized population, and those needs are not being met. And we want to make sure that either the school committee is either underinformed or misinformed. We want to bring some things to your attention.
Is the school committee aware that seclusion rooms have reportedly been used in this district for over a decade without documented approval from the fire department, health department, architects, or engineers? And is the committee aware that when this information was brought to the fire department, those rooms were ordered to cease use immediately? What documentation exists to demonstrate that these practices were ever compliant with safety regulations? Can the committee provide a clear accounting of how much of the substantial funding allocated to Brockton has been specifically directed towards special ed and facility improvements, particularly at schools such as the Downey, which I attended quite some time ago, and it's had virtually no upkeep. It looks exactly the same. Is the committee aware that the largest population of students with special needs is located at Downey, a building that has been identified as being in significant need of repair and modernization? Further, is the committee aware of concerns regarding the absence of updated fire suppression systems, inadequate HVAC, and potential environmental hazards such as mold or asbestos? What current inspection reports exist, and why have these not been provided to families upon request? What oversight mechanisms are in place to ensure that the special ed leadership is consistently complying with state and federal law, including the Individuals with Disabilities Act, particularly with respect to issue prior written notice when making significant changes to a child's program? How does the committee verify that these legal requirements are being followed in practice? How does the district determine appropriate student placement in the least restrictive environment? Why are students denied access to in-district therapeutic programs that appear to be under-enrolled, while families are told those programs are too restrictive? Is the district implementing placement changes for students with significant needs without documented transition planning? And if so, how is that consistent with best practice and legal standard? Is the committee aware that some students have reportedly gone extended periods without access to licensed special ed teachers? What policies are in place to ensure compliance with licensure requirements, and how are families notified when those requirements haven't been met? Is the committee aware of whether staff working in social emotional learning classrooms maintain current and valid restraint certification as required by law and safety regulations? Have there been instances of lapsed restraint certifications? And if so, how is this student safety protected? How was the student safety protected during those periods?
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Just to end, we're going to leave the rest of these
No,
questions.
go ahead, continue, because both of you technically have 3 minutes each, so.
Thank you. When compensatory services are identified as necessary, what systems are in place to ensure those services are delivered fully, promptly, and equitably? How does the district ensure that all similarly impacted students are identified and afforded those services? How does the district ensure transparency, accuracy, and completeness in its communications and documentation? Is it consistent with district policy or legal obligation for critical information to be omitted from IEPs or 504 plans? What accountability measures exist when families are not provided clear explanations for significant program changes? How does the committee ensure the integrity of student records? Is the committee aware of concerns that student records may have been altered or deleted in ways that could misrepresent services provided or decisions made by the special education department? What safeguards, mechanisms, or oversight processes are in place to prevent and detect such actions? And finally, how does the committee ensure that families are able to exercise their rights under special ed law without intimidation or undue pressure? What role does legal counsel play in parent communications, and how does the committee ensure that such involvement does not have a chilling effect on lawful parent advocacy? Finally, how does the district ensure that decisions are driven by individual needs of students, particularly the most vulnerable, and the recommendations from qualified medical and educational professionals are meaningfully considered and implemented? These questions go to the core of district's legal obligations, ethical responsibilities, and duty of care. So I ask, what specific actions will this committee take to investigate these matters, ensure compliance with applicable laws and regulations, and restore trust with the families you serve?
And what we want to bring to your attention, that we've been bringing these things to administrators, to the superintendent, to different people for the last 2 years. Our child, our baby, right, has been traumatized as a result of the things that have happened under your watch. My biggest concern is you are the school committee, and in the term, you're supposed to be committed to schools. If special ed is under your purview, why have they not been reined in making sure that we protect the most vulnerable, most marginalized group of people in the city of Brockton? My child, as a result of whatever, my child was put in a seclusion room in a 6-month period for 63 hours. As a result of that trauma, my autistic son thinks he's the villain. And he's afraid. And that happened on your watch. That happened as a result of basically letting things go way too far. We want answers to these questions, so we kindly will give you a month. And if we don't get the answers, and if we are not satisfied, right, then we are now going to be put in a position where we will get those answers. And so you understand, Lamars don't threaten. We make promises, and then we keep them. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe last but not least, Talicia Ribeiro.
Hello, everyone. My name is Talita Ribeiro, and I am a certified and licensed occupational therapy assistant here in Brockton. This is my 4th year working in Brockton, and I work full-time at the Raymond School teaching grades from kindergarten through 5th grade. And I'm here tonight to speak not only about my role, but about the value that all these certified occupational therapists assistants and speech language pathology assistants and other related service providers bring to this district every single day. In my role, I currently have a caseload of over 50 kids. This includes providing direct services to them, attending IEP meetings, collaborating with teachers, parents, families, and also contributing to the documentation that supports each child's individual progress. I also regularly adjust my schedule to ensure that students are being seen and they have their minutes that they have under their IEPs, even when there are absences or schedule conflicts or any unexpected changes. Beyond working with my students, I also support families by helping them understand strategies that they can use at home, and I attend parent-teacher conferences, and I collaborate closely with the entire team to ensure consistency across all school settings. And as a CODA, I am licensed in the state of Massachusetts, and I am board certified. I am required to complete continuing education to maintain my credentials, and I am currently continuing my own education to further my growth in this field as a future occupational therapist. Our role as CODAs and assistants, I think, is often misunderstood. While we work under the supervision of occupational therapists, we are trained professionals and we do have a defined scope of practice. And we are able to not only implement and adapt interventions that we carry with the students, we contribute to evaluations, we play a critical role in helping students meet their goals. And without us, it would be extremely difficult for the OTRs to be able to complete their duties and to meet the demands of the school system and to provide the level of support that our students need. We are flexible, we are dedicated, we consistently put our students first. What makes this especially difficult is that this is not just a job to us. These are students that we build relationships with them every day. We see their progress, we support their successes, we support them through the challenges, and we celebrate their successes. And we show up for them consistently, even when our workload is high and always increasing and our schedules are always constantly changing. That is why it is discouraging to see that for the first time in 29 years, we did not receive a cost of living adjustment raise this year. And we are asking for fair recognition in the work that we do and for the qualifications that we do hold. And I encourage the committee to take a closer look at our roles, our responsibilities, the state and the national standards that guide our practice. And I just want to say that we do really, truly, deeply care about our students. We are simply asking for an equitable treatment and for us to be able to do this job sustainably. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ribeiro, and thank you all, your speakers that came out and spoke today, and the Lamars as well. Thank you for being here and expressing your feelings. Let the record also show that Dr. Tahiliani is also here today. So, Madam Clerk, please take on the agenda.
Thank you. So we will move on to item 3, which is the report of the superintendent of schools. Item A is teaching and learning, and we'll start with the student representative.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor Rodriguez, Superintendent Dr. Tahiliani, school committee members, Mr. Gomes, Mr. Pina, Mr. Rodriguez, Ms. Oliver, Ms. Centeo, and Ms. Asak, and to all of you guys watching. Today, I'm super excited to give you guys a look inside on Brockton High School from an outside perspective. First, we have sports. Devin Rencher recently traveled to Virginia Beach to complete an Adidas Indoor Track and Field Nationals meet and placed second in both triple jump and long jump out of hundreds of athletes at the meet and thousands in the country. Second place is a really true accomplishment for him and any athlete at that. Recently, Brockton baseball had their first game of the season versus Bridgewater Raynham and walked away with their first of many. In the middle picture, you can see Cody Lambert had 7 strikeouts, and Sony had a 2-run homer that led to them 6-5 win. So impressive feats on both fronts. Many sports are having their first few games this week, so be sure to look out for their schedules. I included them later in the presentation. An outstanding group of 25 students produced artwork that is now displayed at Brockton Public Library as part of the annual Art Smart exhibition and contest. These students worked incredibly hard on these pieces and it's true honor, so if you have the chance, make sure to stop by and take in some of their work from Brockton's finest artists. Make sure you do so. Staying on the fine arts side of the building, Brockton's concert band and wind ensemble traveled to Foxborough to the Micah Festival. Both bands worked diligently for months and earned silver and gold medals in statewide competition. And it's really important to note the feat that concert band accomplished with a band of majority freshmen and a really younger band in a statewide competition. Earning a silver medal is a really cool accomplishment for them. Both bands recently showcased these songs at the Brockton Spring Concert alongside the Advanced Concert Band in a musical night next door in the Big Theater. Trio recently took students on 3 more tours to UMass Boston, UMass Lowell, and Stonehill College with a bunch more up their sleeves. I've mentioned Trio a few times as a really good resource for students to go to when they're looking for help in the college and career process. Mr. Novick and Mr. Gunnerman have been working extremely hard to ensure every student has the resources they need to succeed at post-secondary education or whatever path they decide to go to. Now, as far as clubs, both the senior and junior officers began selling their tickets, selling process this past week, and we're leaving them open for just a few more days for anyone still coming in. The numbers have been decreasing this year. We're seeing only about 400 students at our senior prom, which is drastically lower than previous years. And this may be due to the prom being moved forward by a month due to the World Cup. But nevertheless, it's something kind of to look into, like why this is happening. The junior prom is experiencing a decline in tickets are sold, but we really want to emphasize the amazing time students have at these events, and to those going, that'll be everything they expected and more. Another fundraiser going on at Brockton High School currently, actually, I just got back from Texas Roadhouse where we're having a dine-in fundraiser where 10% of customers' purchases that are supporting the Brockton High School senior class go back to us. And we also have some pretty cool raffles there that we're going. So if you're hungry after the meeting, make sure you guys stop by. Moving on to a wonderful day in the gym, we saw the Student Athlete Advisory Committee host their Winter Olympics, bringing together athletes from all sports and fun games and activities to boost unity and school spirit. I heard it was a really fun day, and this was hosted by Emma Gomes. Now, time for business. Ms. Balboni and our business CTE program held a real estate panel with local professionals. They took part in an interactive panel presentation where students learned what a career in real estate looks like. In the very near future, we'll be seeing the CTE program, joined by the DECA program, take a trip to Stonehill this Friday for a resume building workshop. And you can see a lot of alumni from the school, and recent alumni actually there. Mark Mullins was a really great student. He came back to kind of show the kids like that it really can be done and kind of give an insider look of how they can really get to where he is today. Recently, our peer mediators attended the 9th annual Be in the Know Youth Conference. The Be in the Know Youth Conference is a day designed to spread awareness about mental health and guidance among young student leaders. Our very own Ms. Runiak was presented with the Kerry O'Malley Champion of the Year Award. Our peer mediation and photo voice students attended as a great representation of Brockton High School. Apologies. Livingstone, an HBCU from Salisbury, North Carolina, made their 3rd consecutive trip to Brockton High School and offered 25 seniors full presidential scholarships, meaning that covers all costs at the school, and it was on the spot as well. They earned this for having a great academic standing, and an additional 20 seniors were offered partial scholarships ranging from $5,000 to $10,000, which is a really substantial amount of money, especially considering how expensive college can be. And coming to the end of the recap, we can see March as an extremely strong month. I want to showcase this through a little fun way. We checked off everything on our to-do list. As we sent 9 athletes to national athletic events, won gold at states, and not only jazz, but also on concert band and wind ensemble. Got mental health certified, got a plethora of full-ride scholarships, hit a home run, finished MCAS, sophomore's great job, and had a safe St. Patrick's Day. Now on to our April bucket list. We look forward to a bunch of things like sporting events. Here I listed many of the spring sports next game. You can see we have a few today as well as coming up in the next few weeks. The musical has been announced and we're excited to host Chicago, which should be a really good one. I have a lot of friends excited for that one. And SAT prep and credit recovery are still occurring on Saturdays. And of course, we have April vacation. That's all from my report. But I did want to ask, in addition to any other questions you guys might have, what do you guys want to see? What do you guys want to know? If there's anything that I can do at the school to kind of give you guys a better look at what's going on in Brockton High School and give you guys a better look at what you guys need to know at these other committee meetings, I'd be glad to do so. But I would really want to know, what do you guys want to know?
Well, it's always good to see and highlight the good things that's happening, but I also want to hear like the not so great things that are happening in our schools and how can we as member support you guys with improving those. So it's always good to highlight the positive, but I think we should be transparent and also discuss the not so great things. So for me, that's what I would like to hear. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you for the report, as always. Great job, Bobby. I brought this up with Principal McCaskill as well, but I think, we have a studio over there, and I think this is, I guess we're not going to go back to newspapers, I get that. But, being able to have something where you're doing this more consistently, not you, but even the school in general, because what ends up happening is, it is good to put out a lot of this good news, but like the fundraiser that's today, obviously we can't go to the fundraiser because we're here, but there's a lot of information that can be put out if we set up a little studio, new studio over there. So maybe that's something that you can pass on to the next person who takes your spot.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really interesting thing, especially like we had talked about getting information out because it's really hard to get information out to such a large school. And like all the platforms that we use, like it's not really communicated as well as possible. And I think that may be another reason why we're not getting as much prom tickets because people didn't know it's such a big school. Like, and it's only like at the end of the day in the cafeterias, it's hard to know. But I think I can definitely bring that up, whether it be like the formation of a new club or like the newspaper, like you said. I know we used to have boxer shorts, which is kind of like a fun way. Like they would show it in the beginning, and like that's kind of some information as well as what's going on in the school. So I'll definitely bring that up for the next one. Thank you.
Ms. Azak.
Thank you. Thank you, Robbie. So to follow up on that bit of information, I know previous administration, we had brought it up prior to Dr. Tahiliani being here, that when we do have events, we had asked to have like an activities calendar, a fundraising calendar, kind of linked to our BPS. A lot of our schools do have the dine-in nights, or they have fundraisers that are happening. I might not be able to go, but I might want to contribute like every other citizen might want to support our schools. I would love to maybe finally get to that point, have a link. Same with all our, I'm not sure if Brockton High School has, I'm sure they do with Principal McCaskill, social media pages where you can share your flyers, where we can all share them to the different social media sites to help you guys with your fundraising, to help you guys get the word out for the other students. Especially prom. Prom is once or twice in a lifetime for some students. And it's just, you go to prom and you don't want them to miss out on something because they didn't hear about it. So I really would love to see us incorporate something, whether it's on our actual website that they can go to. Even as members, we always get invites to things, but I'd like to go on there and see what's happening at our schools to be able to support them myself or attend these events for them, whether it's, contests or scholarships or different events that are happening. But why don't you reach out to us and we can work with the superintendent's office to get that going? Because we have been talking about it with prior administration. So it is time. I think we should stop talking and just finally do it for you guys. Help out our schools. And then that's just really impressive with the scholarships with Livingston. So that's amazing. So congratulations to those students. And as always, you always provide a lot of information. So I know a lot of people look forward to your presentation. And then I know at your last meeting, I believe you mentioned there was a group of students. We would love to just sit with them. If we post it as just a workshop, sit with the students and get some feedback, see what we can help them with. You're in the schools, the good, the bad. We want to know. We definitely love hearing about the good, but we also can't help you and advocate for our students if we don't know where they need more strength. So I think, maybe just get some kind of a working group together with some of the members and just sit with you and just talk about what they'd like to see at Brockton High, and see if we can work with the students on that. But you guys had asked to be a voice, so we'll give you that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting, like a workshop. If some of you guys would want to attend it or kind of host that, I think that'd be really beneficial because we have a lot of passionate students that want to make a difference and want to see new things. So I think that'll kind of give them the platform to let their voices be heard. And I think it's interesting you bring up the calendar because I was actually looking for like the exact what you described when making this presentation to see what else I can add. And I was like asking more people like, oh, like what events have you seen? Because I want to give like a really holistic view of what's been going on in the school. Like I'm involved in a few things, but I want to make sure that I'm getting things that even I might not know about. And I think that may rely in like delegating the roles to advisors of clubs to give them the ability to edit like a certain form on those websites and social medias, so then we can get that out on like a more citywide level.
Absolutely. We let us know what we can help you with, but we can work on that. We're definitely going to work on that. It's time we do it and get the word out for everybody. So maybe with the prom. So when was the deadline for the prom tickets for the students? Did we miss it already?
They're still selling them kind of sort of. You have to set up appointments with the advisors to get them. And they're not closing it 100% because they want to give anyone that didn't know the ability to go. They don't want anyone to miss out on that night. But officially, I believe they ended on April 2nd, like the official dates where they're going to be in the cafeterias, but they're still selling them in the classrooms and whenever they can.
So I assume they're making announcements.
They are
in the morning. Okay.
Like, a lot of kids don't listen to them.
Yeah.
They're like they just won't check the teams.
There's only so much you can do. If they're not listening to the announcements, they're not going to go online. So
yeah,
there's only so much you can do. But definitely, I wasn't surprised. I know they're making announcements. But no, thank you so much, and we'll work with you. Reach out to me, and we'll connect you. Maybe we can work with Mr. Jordan Maybloom and see if there's something we can do as far as putting some kind of a social calendar on there, or even fundraising. Get the fundraising out to help our students. There's only so much they can do without the public's help. That's all. You just have to get the word out. But we'll work on that with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Oliver?
Thank you. I had a quick question. You said the number of students attending the prom went down this year. Is it due to financial reason? Do you know why the number went down? Is it due to the date or like students unable to afford the ticket?
I would say students always have something to say about the price, no matter how low it is. We've been trying to do fundraising as much as possible, and we had a little bit less time. And I believe it was just $10 more than last year. So I don't think that's an effective, comparison. So I wouldn't say it's the cost, but I think it is somewhat due to it being a month earlier. And also the time of it being, Miss Tucker had said to me earlier today that since it was after school, some kids didn't want to go because they wanted to go to prom and never see kids again. I'm not sure. So maybe that plays a role in some students' attendance, but to be quite honest with you, I'm not sure.
Okay, it would be a great idea to have kind of like a survey done, and maybe the students can let us know the reason why they're not attending. It could be the date or the financial reason. And if it is financial reason, something we can look into to like support those students. I know I had to work full time when I went to Brockton High, and I had to pay for everything. I mean, I wasn't financially stable back then, family wise, so I paid for everything. The ticket, everything was on my cost, working. So I think it's something that we can definitely work. I will love to basically pay for a student to go to prom. I would never want anybody to miss out. And just because of financial cost, I think it's something that I would definitely sponsor a few students if that's the case for them to go to prom. And I think that's something we definitely should see, like moving forward, exactly what's the reason, because I don't think anybody should miss prom because of financial reason. Please let us know exactly what was like if you guys can put out a survey for the seniors to let us know, juniors, so we know exactly how we can move forward to help them out.
I think that's a great idea and how to get information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let the record show that Ann Oliver wants to donate $1,000 towards the prom. Mr. Gomes.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I want to say a huge thank you to Livingston College for the scholarships, and shout out to the students that did receive those. Two things similar to Ms. Centello. We want to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. I remember some time ago we told you, come in here and tell us what you need and what you guys are going through. And I remember a couple weeks after that, there was one of the presentations I'll never forget. You included the roofing that was leaking right here, and you're like, this needs to be fixed, and they're working on it. So I would love to see more things like that. What do you guys need from us? What's going on, and what we need to pay attention to? The other piece, I think very similar to what some of the members have already said, is besides, I love to see the sporting events, all the great things we're doing. What are other students saying? For instance, one thing I would love to see, call it a spotlight. I had an interview with this student, or I met with this group of kids. They're looking for this, or this is what they're saying that's going on within our schools, and would love for the committee or the schools to pay attention to, or to acknowledge, recognize, and do something about. So I'd love to see that in your presentations. Do a mini video, interview session, whatever the case is, and that could be very helpful as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gomes. Anyone else? Thank you, Robert. Great job, man. Madam,
Thank you so much.
your report.
Yes, mine. So I'll put up my superintendent's update. So I just wanted to let everybody know that BCA is having technical issues. The meeting is still being recorded and will be posted later. Also, I did want to, just as a reminder, let folks know that we did update our website last year. And if you go onto our website under the schools, each school has a calendar. And if you click on the calendar, it has a list of events for the schools. Obviously, it's, BHS is a really large school, so it's hard to, I think the same, I see a lot of the events on here, but I know that there are more events, and but school leaders also have been trained on how to submit events into their own school calendar. So that is a way that we are trying to make sure that everybody knows about the activities in addition to our social media presence. Right. So I did want to start by congratulating our BHS computer science students, Jason, Julian, Daniel, and Marcus, who earned the Project Lead the Way Computer Science Award for their outstanding project submission to Student Industry Connects. Their project was chosen by industry professionals and was given at the Project Lead the Way Spring Conference in Framingham on March 10th. Their submission was one of a very few award winners from more than 500 submissions and representing over 2,000 students throughout Massachusetts. This award is a reflection of their hard work, of course, but also of the depth and authenticity of the work they've been doing all year. I also want to acknowledge an incredible standout student from BVLA who has reached some wonderful milestones recently. Sophomore Camilla Cowrie proudly represented BVLA at the Massachusetts Region 5 Science and Engineering Fair at Bridgewater State, where she presented her project exploring a protocol that uses two devices to help delay the onset of Alzheimer's disease. She's going to build on that impressive success this summer as Camilla's been accepted into the prestigious summer pre-college program at Brown University. At Brown, she'll spend 3 weeks studying pre-med subjects as she works towards her goal of becoming a doctor one day. So congratulations to Camilla and to the BVLA community. 26 of our BHS student athletes representing a wide range of sports teams visited the Davis recently and made it to over 10 classrooms, specialists, and outdoor recess. They even joined a dance party at lunch, and Ms. Landerholm reports that BHS student athletes have room to grow when it comes to their cha-cha slide moves. Thank you to our wonderful administrators from BHS and Davis, Ms. Landerholm and Mr. Rooney, for this special collaboration. The Davis wasn't the only school to get a special visit last month. After spending the month of March learning all about transportation, Barrett pre-K students ended the unit by getting the chance to see a big yellow school bus up close. They even got to board the bus, sing songs, and get a sneak preview at what it's like to ride the big buses. Several East Middle School students took part in the Math Quiz Bowl portion of the African American and Latino Tenacity Challenge, an academic competition that celebrates excellence, leadership, and collaboration among African American and Latino or Latina students in Massachusetts. Now in its 15th year, this competition has served over 2,000 students from urban and suburban districts, but this was the first year that we have participated. So a huge shout out to these students and to Ms. Padella, who has been training our students to prepare for this bowl. I often say that every single person who interacts with our students in our school buildings is an educator. Every single person in our school community contributes to our students' learning in one way or another, and here's a prime example of just that at the Gilmore, where our wonderful custodians Miguel and Jeff got leprechaun trap kits from Home Depot and led 3rd and 4th grade students in the building of these traps in preparation for St. Patrick's Day. Miguel and Jeff taught them how to use hammers and screwdrivers and, of course, read and follow the step-by-step directions. The kids had a blast doing it, and they are hoping to schedule another activity like this spring. Last but not least, I wanted to give a special shout out to our 3 amazing Brockton educators who were recognized recently with the Grow Hope Foundation's Outstanding Educators Award. Congratulations to Katie Berry at the Raymond, Kelly Walsh at BHS, and Julie Rossi at West. The award celebrates educators whose work reflects Grow Hope's mission to support young people through education, partnership, and community while inspiring hope, belonging, and opportunity for students. One honoree from each level, elementary, middle, and high, was chosen from an extraordinary field of nominees. Each of their nominations touched upon the care, dedication, and impact they bring to their classrooms each day. All 3 were recognized recently at a special ceremony and gala, but we also had the chance to stop by each of their schools to surprise them with the news ahead of time. Also, on tonight's agenda, which we will also get to a more comprehensive update on our MSBA project, but I did want to just let everybody know that we will be hosting our 2nd community forum as part of the effort to introduce the community to the Brockton High School building project. This forum will be held on April 27th at 7 p.m. at South Middle School, and like the first one, we'll offer our entire community a chance to learn about the work that's been done so far, the MSBA process that we are a part of, and the team working on this project. I encourage community members to come with their questions about this effort and would also note that it will be available to watch live online and translation services will be available. And finally, we also do have a finance update, which I'll get to and provide further detail, but I did just want to provide an overview of last year's budget timeline, as I know there have been questions about the timing of our budget. We are still creating our budget for FY27 in collaboration with principals, directors, and department heads, and we are on track to present it to this committee for the first time in May, as we did last school year. And with that, I'll take any questions on my report before I move to the MSBA update.
All right, thank you. Mr. Pina?
I just wanted to make sure that that transcription service that they did at West Middle School was, I hadn't seen it done before, the way that was done. I know that was Left Field that did that, I believe, with all the different languages.
Oh.
I think there were 8 different languages that it was being live transcribed, not transcribed, translated into, and it was something that you might see it like the UN, to be honest with you, because they were all in these little booths right in front of them. It was something very impressive to see what the Left Field and we as the city are, what we're willing to do to get the information out to people. So I just want to make sure that I commend that, what I saw there.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No. Let me move on.
Yes, so item B is the MSBA monthly update. So as I mentioned, we did have one of our community forums, and we also do have another community forum coming up on April 27th. We have been meeting regularly, and also some of those meetings are public where the community can tune in and see where we are in the project. There are members here who I know have joined some of those committee meetings, and obviously the mayor as well. And so I know you don't want to just listen to me talk, so I'm happy to hand it over to anybody who wants to provide insight or more information on the process thus far.
No one? I have a meeting with, actually, next Tuesday with the state treasurer and also the chairperson for the MSBA, as well as the executive director of MSBA, so we can go plead our case and see what we can do. They're actually coming to Brockton.
Oh, wonderful.
I'll let you know the time, so I have to come as well.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Frederick.
Thank you. I know tomorrow we have a working group in the GAR. So there's so many different groups. I know Mrs. Oliver's on there, myself, to make sure that this project actually happens. And, you know, with the forum on the 27th, so I encourage all the members. I know you guys already do it, but just let's make sure we get our network to share it and get a packed auditorium so the public knows the magnitude of this project. And the other piece too, you know, it comes with a hefty cost, and this is not a rich community. And I think all of us as a body, and you know, through the mayor's office and the city council, and we have to put a lot more pressure at the state level to get more dollars. You know, because this is going to come with a hefty price tag, and you know, this is like a one-shot deal. Like this has to happen, no questions. There's no if and what's about it. These kids deserve it. And it's not just the high school. You know, we've all gone to our schools and we see some of the conditions, and we just have to make sure that this community, and you know, as the mayor says, you know, it's not a school side, it's just one. So we have to just all come together to make sure that we're making the best decisions to advocate for our district, specifically our facilities. You know, it's like this body, and I've been pushing for this since I got on a committee with our athletic fields. You know, it took me 5 years to get it approved, but the thing is that, like, how are we going to pay for it? You know, we can't say, hey, we're going to get these fields done, but then the schools are left behind, and from, you know, our HVAC, our windows, roofs, furniture, and then also, you know, stuff that we have to get for our students. So I just implore that this body reach out and put some pressure on our state delegation, our federal folks, to get as much dollars as possible to make sure that this project is done right. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and we don't want all this work to just disappear because we can't get the dollars to pay for this. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Oliver?
And I think if the residents also, if they have any question, they can definitely call Kevin Sullivan. He's been awesome. I've had multiple conversation with him the past few weeks. So definitely he's very transparent, and he's like, any information that you want, definitely reach out to them. They'll let you know our vision, what we want to move forward. And definitely if you go around different cities and neighborhood towns, you can see the brand new schools they have. I just went recently to Norwood, and they have brand new schools. And I even spoke to some family, because I was visiting some patients, and spoke to some of the family members, like, how do you feel about the brand new school? They're very proud of it. I know they're older adults, some of them that I spoke to, and it's like, yeah, but this is the future for our grandkids. I might not, my kids are older, but there's grandkids that's coming, and they're proud of new schools. And I think that's something that we really need to fight for, brand new high school, and be proud of something that our grandkids and great grandkids will be, put to use. And I think it's something that we really need to have those hard conversations. I understand everything's going up. The gas is almost $5 a gallon. So I understand that. And also as a taxpayer for this city, but I want to see that we have a brand new school for my kids are still going. And, I want my kids to come back here to make a life in Brockton. But if there's no good building, sustain an education into, I would not want them to come back to Brockton. So I think it's something we need to build so our future generation can come back and basically the kids be educated here. So thank you.
And I think that high school will be a catalyst for development in this community like no one believes, because if we have a great school with great CTE programs, I think it will attract a lot more people into our community. So that's why we're going to fight like hell. And if you think about it, as far as the fighting is concerned, Boston, for instance, has had 7 new schools done recently. Worcester, 4 new schools. In Brockton, 0. And that's why I think we need to really galvanize the effort and everybody row in the same direction so we can get this done. Anyone else? Please continue, ma'am.
Thank you. I believe there's also going to be a presentation at City Council by Little Left Field on April 21st as well. So you'll be able to tune into that also. All right, so moving on to C, the finance update. So I did want to let everyone know and the community know that our Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Dr. Regil Buto, is departing from the Brockton Public Schools. She'll no longer be with us, but we do wish her best in whatever comes next. We will be posting the Assistant Superintendent of Finance position tomorrow, and we'll be conducting a thorough search for a permanent successor. I also want to let you know, because of course consistent leadership is essential, that we will still be leveraging our partnership with Open Architects, our consultant, who is on the line and will be available to ask questions on our finance update. But I also wanted to let you know that I am excited to announce that Sarah Butler, who many of you know, will be moving into the position of Budget Director. Sarah actually began her career working in the city of Brockton as a financial analyst before joining the Brockton Public Schools as an accountant. Sarah has experience as the Director of Finance and Business Operations in Wellesley Public Schools and as the budget director here in the Brockton Public Schools as well before that. She was an integral part of developing our budget for the current year that we're in, and we're excited to leverage her expertise building our budget for next school year. I am also happy to announce that we have hired a procurement manager. I know we have 2 positions open, but we have finally hired one. He has accepted. He is starting on the 14th. His name is John Foley, and he joins us after most recently serving as the procurement manager with Boston Planning and Development Agency. He also brings with him extensive municipal and school finance experience, including work with the Concord Area Special Education Collaborative and the Boston Fire Department, among others. So I look forward to inviting him to a future meeting to introduce him. I do want to just stress again that we have already taken important steps to develop and implement stronger financial systems, and that effort will continue. So at this time, we do have the year-to-date budget report that you have in front of you. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them the best I can. And also Sarah Butler is here as well, as is TJ on the line in case anybody has questions.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I have a quick question. What the new amount for the pension that we have to basically contribute now, how does that affect our budget for next year?
So if the amount for next year is $11.4 million, so that was why I asked about that amount. I know that it could potentially change, but if that's our estimate, I would, I feel comfortable with the projections that we'll be able to provide you. However, I think what my concern is, and what we do need to determine, is about the funds from before, about the $6 million. So I think that we have been strategic in how we are utilizing our net school spending carryover. So you see it in the school committee line where it is, $7 million. And I know we have appropriated some funds. I've asked for transfers of some of those funds out of that line. However, as we are creating the budget for next year, we are being very mindful of just what the future looks like in general. We don't want to be in a situation where we weren't forecasting the fiscal cliff, for example, of the SOA dropping off. We want to make sure that we are that we have the funds that we need moving forward. We have heard that our Title I funds are going to be cut by 15%. So the state has told us to prepare for that. We know that we do have an increase in our Chapter 70 for next year. However, given inflation, given cost of living increases, and given the increase in health insurance, we do believe that it's almost as if we are level funded, which is why those carryover funds are going to be that much more important. So I know I'm not fully answering your question, but I think determining whether or not we are going to have those funds is going to be critical to understanding what our budget is for the future. That being said, we are in the midst of planning our budget. We are basically considering ourselves level funded. We do currently have 100 certified vacancies in the district. The reason I bring that up is because as we are planning for the budget for next year, we are also trying to ensure that if there are any cuts, they may come from the vacancies. Or I'm just saying that maybe we're trying to impact the least number of people. How's that? So positions may be impacted, but we are doing our best to impact the least number of people. So we, so I'll let you know more as we talk about the FY27 budget. But as long as that number is at about 11.4 to 12 million, with everything else staying the same, or how I understood it to be, which was the 7 million carryover and then another 6, I think we would be okay for the future.
Okay. The Title I 15% cutoff, is that for FY27 or is that for?
That is for FY27. We have not received the final numbers yet, but that is what the state told us to plan for.
Okay. My only concern is not on your part, is the tentative 11 million. It's unfair for you to start budgeting with not a guaranteed number, right? Because if we're saying 11 millions, who to say by June it's going to be 12, 13. So I think it's something we need to, if you're going to give me 11, that's all you're getting. I'm sorry. I don't want you to change it in 2 months or 3 months. Either you have the answers now, or don't come back and say, oh, by the way, I'm adding 2 million more. And it's unfair that we are basically going, we're like, yeah, we're going to do this way, but we're still waiting to see if it's going to go more than 11 millions. And I think that's the reason why we postponed it to bring it up here in the regular meeting is when he was talking, I was trying to figure out, you can't be tentative, right? You have to give me a figure, stay with the figure. So when we're doing our budgeting, we're basically appropriating the funds that we need where we need it most, right? And if we're not getting that guaranteed of what it's going to be exactly, and now we have 100 vacancy, now we might have to change to 50, and now we're going to raise our class size. We don't have enough educators for certain, students, especially the SPED department. This is what my concerning is. It's not so much on your department, is on the CFO from the city. You need to speak with accurate number so we can do the appropriate budget for our students.
What I will say, because, I will argue for the amount of money I believe we're due, but I'll also give credit where credit's due. And if you do notice on that same suggestion for next year, and again, we are working out those numbers, it does say under our non-net school spending that we're already being appropriated 19 million for transportation and 1 million for community schools. So that is 20 million, so we're starting off in a way better position than last year, where I know we thought we would get 18 million net school spending, or non-net school, and we got 17 instead. So right now we've got 3 million more there, and I'm very appreciative of that. I'm not going to say that I'm not.
So we're asking for the whole 20? Is that what we're going
we've
at?
already been appropriated the whole 20, so I plan on asking for 23.
Are we going to
Just
You got jokes. I love it today. I think that definitely we need to have especially when it comes to transportation, we're not asking less than what we did last time. I didn't vote for it. We're not going to do that again. I think we're going to vote exactly what we're spending, because we don't want to be in deficit, and we don't want to go up, in front, also begging for money. That is appropriate to give to our students. So definitely, I agree that. Sorry, Mr. Mayor and Chair. Just stating the facts.
I don't know
Thank
if the
you.
superintendent told you that I actually found money to do Marciano Stadium.
I didn't know if I was allowed. That is, please feel free to make the announcement.
I said that, and she said, "Can I have some?" Go ahead, continue.
Oh, no.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Mr. Gomes.
Yeah, any other questions?
Thank you. A couple questions. I'll just pick back off of Ms. Oliver real quick. I also don't like the uncertainty of the numbers and the statement of, we'll do the budget, you'll do the budget, and then we'll finalize this and come to an agreement. If let's say I allocate 200 million, you can come back and tell me I need $3-4 extra $1 million, because now we have the final number. So if we can get a final number on that,
Could be less.
we'll take less. That's extra money flowing around, but more than that, no. I have a question as far as the carryover. So if we have that carryover and we don't spend it all, and then we have the additional carryover that supposed to come in, how does that affect us as far as spending the money, not spending the money, our budget and things like that?
So, as when we're planning the FY27 budget, we are doing it with the current funds that you see here, those net school spending budgets. We are not, you won't see a net school spending carryover as part of the budgeting process. That being said, I do think it's an important part as we're considering how we're creating the budget for next year, because if we have agreed upon the net school spending carryover, that would be appropriated next year. And so when we know things like our Title I expenditures, for example, if we're going to plan for the 15%, let's say it's more than that, then we will have those reserve funds to still submit our Title I in the way that we are planning for it this year. Let's say we get all of the Title I and there's no 15% cut, then we're just in better shape. I think also as we are planning for the future, we are, again, not just planning for next year, but the year beyond, which is the year that I'm really concerned about, because that's the year where we will no longer have SOA funds, and none of us know what that's going to look like. So as much as I don't want to be planning for net school spending carryovers into perpetuity, I do want to make sure that we are planning well, because as you know, you see with many districts who maybe didn't plan as much for ESSER falling off, that you do have a fiscal cliff that we then have to address. And so as we're creating the budget, we won't be budgeting for that amount, but we will be creating the budget with that in mind and with that reserve there. I'm not allowed, I don't think I'm supposed to say that we would carry it over 2 years into the future. Like, that's not like what DESE wants to hear. They want to know that we are spending it all. At the same time, DESE has to recognize that our funding formula is not appropriate, and if we are not planning for the future, we are putting our school system in jeopardy. So, and that will be a conversation when we are going through the FY27 budget that we can certainly have about those carryover funds and how we're looking at them into the future. But I am very honestly more concerned about FY28.
Yes, I know they don't like to see that we're holding on to the bring it future years and dealing with certain. Would we be penalized if,
as long as we do not fall under 5%
that's my,
of our Chapter 70 funds? So yeah, so if that last year we were concerned about that, and that is why we put forward the $4.2 million spending plan for the appropriation from the previous year. We knew that we weren't going to be able to spend all those funds for just for procurement purposes alone and contracting. It is, you know, there's a lot of steps to take in order to spend funds. So we knew we wouldn't be able to spend it all, but we wanted to at least have a plan so that we would spend down enough to where we would fall comfortably under that threshold, which we did.
Okay. Thank you.
And
That's
given
all.
our spending for this year, we are very comfortably within that threshold. In fact, our projection, I believe, of carryover for this fiscal year could be about $2 million. Now, that's not the non-net. I'm talking about the net. So we are spending better and more appropriately, more accurately. We're budgeting more accurately moving forward, and spending more funds on our students. But yeah, those leftover net school spending carryover funds, I would like to hear from this committee, but I am thinking more about that into FY28.
And then just to go back a little bit into the pension obligation, and looking at the numbers here as they increase, for instance, we have examples up to FY38. Have we looked at how that impacts us compared to not having to pay into that?
No. So I actually have not gotten to, I got this too today, and so I still need to kind of dig into this. So no, I'm not sure yet. Okay. And now if it's going, like, again, I'm a little bit, I need to better understand, because if that line that we were talking about where it like tops out at 13.5, or I'm sorry, 27 million, and we're 60% of that. Again, I just want some confirmation on those numbers. Now, that is FY38. but I just want confirmation that that's what we're talking about. I think it is what we're talking about, 60% of that. Now, our Chapter 70 does. 62. No, 60. We'll just round it down. Everybody knows that's what you're supposed to do. So yes, we'll have to look at what that's going to look like. We do tend to get more Chapter 70 funds. They take into account some cost of living. The problem is with the SOA dropping off, I don't know how that is going to, the compounding impacts of that over time. I don't know. That's a great question, and I will find out more for you.
Okay, I'll yield.
I think we got a couple of years to think about this one, too.
We do.
2038 is a long way, and I know for a fact that a lot of us won't be here, so. You want to say something?
Yeah, so back to this year now. Let's start with the non-net spending. So we're obviously going into negative territory in transportation. Do you know what the estimated amount is going to be? Are we in the fourth quarter of the year?
Yes, so so you'll see that we are in the negatives with the encumbrances. So we actually haven't, nothing's hitting our lines right now at a negative. So, but like I mentioned at our transportation subcommittee meeting, I will be going in front of City Council to request those additional dollars. And I believe we're going to need about $3 million. That is my estimate, but I'll get you those exact numbers.
And then going over to the net spending, we got this report a few times, and it had more line item stuff. And then if you look at our dashboard, like I said, we're in the fourth quarter, so we're 75% of the way through, right? So that means there's 25% of the time left doing Brockton math. So a lot of the schools their budget lines are at the 50 to 60% mark.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain why their burn rate is so low and not burning through where they should be?
Actually, do you want to, I invite up Sarah Butler. I don't know if you have the.
Yeah, please.
Is that all right?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So those funds are basically for the schools to spend, so they're tracking that spending on their own. We can definitely encourage them to be spending the time now. So usually we cut off the budget around May, so they still have additional time to spend those funds.
Yeah, some of those are pretty high amounts, multi-million-dollar amounts. So do we plan on just spending it all at the end? What I want to prevent, and to be extremely clear, is that I'm not a fan of year-to-year budgeting. I'm more of a fan of zero-based budgeting. So we shouldn't allow them to then just spend that down on things that they don't need. So I'm afraid of that happening like it does every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Are you talking about the personnel lines or the supplies lines? So personnel or non-personnel?
Both.
Both. So can say for the personnel lines, a lot of times it's because of the vacancies.
But every school is, again, I'm looking at what OA gives us on our dashboard, and it's on average of 55%. Some schools are at 62, 63, some schools are at 50 or a little bit below. But we're 75% of the way through. So even if it was that, then why haven't they hired to their, and I guess it goes to their resource allocation model. If they are supposed to have X amount of teachers, why don't they have them?
So we've been doing our best to hire, and when I say we have 100 vacancies, that's just for certified positions. That's certified, those positions that require DESE certification. That's not the number of vacancies we have in the district. We have even more than that. I think a lot of it, if I'm being honest, is we sort of got behind, I think, when there was a hiring freeze. And I know when I first came into the district, there were a lot of talks about teachers that we had gone without, and we are still sort of making up for compensatory services that we owe to students. And I think that we are still, even though we posted earlier last year than we had in prior years, it still has been very difficult to hire. And that sort of is the landscape right
So
now.
does that fall then into those dollars will then be additional carryover dollars if we're not able to spend that down?
Well, not necessarily, because it depends on what our bottom line is as to what actually gets carried over, because then adjustments will be made over the course of the year based on the lines that are going over. So for example, overtime, we had budgeted it for a certain amount, but overtime costs can be incurred because we are, for example, spending money where we did not hire a position, right? So we had to then pay additional overtime. So there will be lines that will be higher, and then there will be lines that will be lower. And that's why when I say we're projecting a $2 million, I believe, carryover for next year, what I'm thinking about is just the entire bottom line. So when we look at all of the pluses and minuses all throughout, because you'll see on here, there are some lines that are over and there are some lines that are under. But what matters at the end of the budget cycle is the final bottom line, and it won't be in a negative. It will be in the positive, or we will still have $2 million left over. That would be our net school spending carryover.
So just to be clear, so let's say Brockton High School, their budget is 38 million. They're at, they spent about 45% of that budget. So you're telling me in 25% of the year, they're going to spend that rest of that 65 million or 65% of, and I'm not going to do the math right now, but so that doesn't really make much sense to me. That seems like a very large amount of money to spend down. And then you're saying that you guys shut them off in May?
Yes, for spending for classroom supplies and for hiring also, there is a cutoff date. However, also, we do pay through the summer for last fiscal year because our teachers get paid year round too.
Right, but
So
that's
I know
through the
that we're in
fiscal
the,
year, right?
yeah, I know that we're in the fourth quarter, but there is also spending that happens throughout the summer.
Which is still that quarter, right? It ends in June 30th.
No, we actually have, right?
Yeah, so
the
it's stretch
funding-
pays till the end of the summer, and that gets reclassed back into this fiscal year.
Right.
Okay, so
Because our teachers who get paid year-round, they are starting the school year in September. We're not paying them for June and July. We're paying them starting September, but they get paid throughout the summer for that year. So even though they're done in June, they still get paid through the summer.
okay. So the school fiscal year is different than
It is.
Okay.
It makes that end of year a little reconciliation so important in our end of year closeout, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I know, not ideal.
And just to be clear, we're going to make sure we ask for the full amount for the transportation.
Absolutely.
Must.
For FY '26 and for FY '27.
Let's just stay within 1 year.
Okay.
Anybody else?
For FY '26.
Thank you, Sarah.
I don't need her, but
Go ahead.
I mean, I tend to. I mean, obviously, one of the most important things, obviously, is understanding how Chapter 70 education funding is. Mr. Pina, you're getting, I don't want to say you're frustrated, but it's just understanding, how the teachers get paid and why there's, a percentage. But it's more of, and I know everybody, those that work, but it's, through mask is 70 on 70 of understanding the budget. So as much training as possible through the vice chair, getting the finance folks, and, our consultant, another training for the committee to understand the budget process and how money is allocated, to understand where these figures come in and, why it shows. And there's also a reset too of the budget that usually happens to make sure that funds are actually moved, obviously through vacancies of over 100 positions. So it's going to show that there's a gap there. But one of the biggest things is, as we all sit here, is advocating for more dollars. I know this is frustrating. Obviously when we talk about the pension obligation and working with the city to see what those funds are to make sure that the superintendent and her team and the administrators can put a budget together moving forward. Like sometimes when you from the previous meeting, like the math wasn't mathing. It's showing like $1 million. It's a lot more. And if you look at the sheet that was provided, it's doubled across the board. And that's obviously, we do share a cost. That's the one thing that everybody needs to understand. Like we do share a cost, but what is actually those costs with those real numbers? It's unfortunate that this law that existed 20 plus years is now like being revamped up. It should have been something that back then it should have always been calculated in, so the schools will know that this is what it is moving forward. So I just want to make sure that the numbers are accurate. It's not this projection. And when we talk about what non-net was, I was a no, because you have to vote on actual numbers. Thank you on the city side for allocating some funds, but we still have to go and get those funds. We just have to make sure we ask for every dollar, and it'll look good on us too, because if we spend that down, it goes back. And I always question Mrs. Azak and piggyback off of this is like, I believe in FY22, we did return non-net spending. I'm trying to think of what those actual dollars were, but then you look back, it's like there was kind of like a deficit, a retro to that. So, but one of the biggest things is like, where we're spending, Medicaid reimbursement. I know I've had a lot of conversations with Mrs. Oliver about this. It's just that, how can we maximize to get the full reimbursement? When you look at other districts that are getting, that are smaller than Brockton, getting more dollars, why isn't Brockton getting that? So we have to do a better job to make sure we get that Medicaid reimbursement. But the other piece too is we have to request that from the city, because to my knowledge, we've never received any of those dollars. And our educators and our professionals, and you've seen some of our staff that came up here about not receiving a raise. Those are the people that do the work to make sure that we get those dollars. But special ed is one of the departments that needs to be looked at greatly to see where the needs are, so we can have those outcomes and put the dollars directly into those departments. So I hope that, obviously through the mayor, that those dollars can return back to the school district to support those students, because those are our most vulnerable students when it comes to educating them and all their needs and the specialized licenses of individuals that work with them that needs to be hired. So, like, I would love to see a review. I don't want to call it an audit, because it kind of makes things kind of iffy, but a review of the special education department to see where we are lacking in what educators and what licenses that we need to bring hire them. We do have a therapeutic school, and I know we're tuitioning some students, but we have to bring those out of district students back, because it also affects our transportation needs on that end. So, but let's like I said earlier, we need to clamp down. I'm always gonna echo, we have a lot of authority. I want every member to know that we have a lot of power. We do. And we have to be unified and work together to make sure we maximize that and make sure that we get all of the dollars. And I know the mayor has this position, but this body, the 7 of us minus the individual from 7 that's not here, but let's make sure that we maximize and work together and make sure that, we all work with the city side and ourselves to make sure that the dollars go to the right department so we can get those outcomes. And if you look at our report card, 7 and 9 from the bottom in literacy and mathematics, doesn't sit well with me. So we have to make sure there's accurate student outcomes when it comes to that.
Go ahead, Ms. Oliver.
Just to piggyback off Mr. Rodriguez, I think it's something that now with the new chair, new mayor, that we definitely do have that conversation about the Medicare reimbursement. I think after hearing from all the great service has been provided for PT, OT, and speech, and also from the parent that spoke today, I think it's something that we really need to really have that hard conversation. It is not an easy job to input all those information to the state. I did it for 8 years when I was a school nurse. It is not easy. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of hours, and I do know what they're going through. And the system is not that easy. It's not the easy system, and I've worked with tons of healthcare system that are in system. But this is something that we really should have that conversation, either 30-70, 50-50. But I think it's something that if they're putting the work in, hours after hours, supporting our students, and they have to do the documentations, I think it's something that we need to basically figure out how that money can come back to the SPED department. As a parent with a child on the spectrum, I think it's something that we should never take this for granted and definitely do everything possible to support our students in the SPED department. And I think that's something, since I got here, long conversation with Mr. Rodriguez, finding out that we don't get a dime. And I know that other schools in the district in Massachusetts get over $3 million or more a year in Medicare reimbursement. And I've been asking since I've been here, where's the money? How much is it coming in? Like how much? I know we pay about $150,000 for the contract, and nothing has been coming. It's just something that we just have to be fair. It's something that we just got to work with the city. I'm not saying give us all the money back, but I'm saying definitely do like 30-70 to just basically something that we can work moving forward. If we want to play fair and we want to work together, but we also got to support the SPED department because they're unfunded, and we need to figure out how to support our students.
Remember this, 3 months, 1 day, and 12 hours.
And I've been here for almost 3 years, and I've been asking for almost 3 years the information, and it's just going in 1 year, out the other one. And I think it's just right that we figure out where the money's been going, how much we'll be getting yearly, because it's a lot of money. If one school, which is a charter school, can get $3 million for the year, the amount of students we have in the SPED department, we're getting more than that. So if we're asking, we're not getting information, believe me, I want the resident to start calling the CFO and find out how much we're getting, because it's something that needs to come back to the school.
No, we have to figure that out. I have no idea.
Because
So
nobody knows where it's going.
Again,
Nobody knows where
3
bank
months.
account is going, where it's been deposited, how much we're receiving. So I think it's something that
3 months, 3 months,
3 years. I'll count the date,
1
the
day.
minute. I got you.
12 hours.
Well, let's have
and-
those hard conversation in a meeting. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Ms. Hazak, go ahead.
Thank you. Couple of things. So I'll get to that after. On the net school spending, lease of buildings under net, right now it's Foster Street. That's all we have under net as far as a lease. 5350. It says rental lease buildings. As far as I know, it's only Foster. So again, we look at these numbers, and we've been renting that for, gosh, over 10 years. We should have bought a building by now. We've spent over $1 million, well over $1 million, probably $2 million. But I mean, we're looking at this. So I just want a clarification, because all it said is rental building. I just wanted to make sure it was only Foster. And then under font number 3, I need to bring some cheaters. I can't see the number. Yes, thank you. I have contact in. And that didn't help. I'm looking also under the rental lease under non-net is the Belmont Street, correct? For the bus depot? I just want to make sure those are the only 2 leases that we currently have right now. Those are the only 2 current leases. Now, my question back to the net school spending. So I don't see anywhere on here, unless it's itemized under a different category, but are we still renting containers, the big shipping containers, because we don't have enough warehouse space. I'm sorry? Well, that's what I want to make sure. Some were rented and some were purchased. I just want to know, are they in here anywhere? I just want to make sure we're not renting any. I know they purchased many of them, but again, it would just make more sense. What did we pay to purchase them? How much are we paying to rent places? Obviously, we need space. So if we categorize some of these, and then, bear with me, I'm trying to. And then under 5500, traffic duty salaries. Is that just staff, or is that including any police? Any police coverage? Like, what does that include? It just says traffic duty salaries.
Sorry.
Just this,
For our custodians.
just the
yes.
custodians.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it didn't include anything else. And then under vehicle repair, this is not really finance related, but I'm just curious to see what kind of repairs are we seeing now that our buses are getting to a certain age. What kind of repairs are we seeing? Is it more beneficial to, I know we had talked about leasing them compared to owning them. So again, I'll have to take a look at this and reach out to you. And then, I saw the timeline as far as May and everything, but last year was unique. You came on board, you and your team, and you were trying to clean up a mess, and we're also trying to get our bills paid. So we were going through a lot last year, but myself and other members that have served, we've always started talking about the budget. So I'm a little anxious looking at our timeline. If we do have to, and I hate to even mention it, but if we do have to notice any of our employees, just as a procedural, to make sure we hit our deadlines to notify, we're really cutting it close. We're in April, and our next meeting is not until the end of April. And then we start meeting in May, and then we need to get the budget over to the city council. Like, for the other members, this is not normal for me. I know Mr. Rodriguez and I have served, and Mr. Sullivan have served where we started talking about it a lot sooner. So I would feel more comfortable if we had more finance meetings. Just even if there's, like, we tried to have one earlier and we didn't have enough time. And it should just be a meeting just to make sure we have enough time. Because there was a year where the budget was submitted to the city council and we hadn't approved it yet. And there was a lot of confusion, and a lot of city councilors were like, well, why are you coming up with this number? We're like, because we were told we had to get you the budget, and it was presented without our approval. I just want to make sure we're not rushed. I want to make sure that we provide them something that we're comfortable with rather than feel rushed because we're running out of time. So I'm not sure how the other members feel, but I would prefer that we have more finance meetings. It is our budget season, and it's April. Like, you don't have one next week, and then end of April. So it's the will of the committee, whatever they're comfortable with. But we have a lot of new members that have not sat through the budget season. So, and I understand your team's working on it, but we all need to work together and see where we want to allocate funds. But that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Mr. Gomes.
Thank you. I guess I'll start where Ms. Azak just ended. I did express to Dr. Tahiliani when we met that my first year on this committee, that was my experience. A budget was shown to us right before it was sent to the city council. I know we had the little rearrangement schedule. I told I would love to keep this meeting for us to start these discussions and whatnot. So hopefully we'll start streamlining these, and in the future, the meeting hopefully will be starting way earlier. The other thing, I think we need to do a better job at educating the public as far as our budget and funding. It always seems like we're asking. We're always going to the city for more funds. And I'm hearing a lot of, you guys just got this much for carryover, or there's this much money. You guys got so much money here. why do you keep going back and asking for more funds? And it comes down to explaining the different sources of funding and the different requirements and ways that we can use some of these funds. For instance, right now, you just said we're going back to the city council to ask for almost $3 million for transportation. And I had this conversation with the mayor as well, people in the community, the city council themselves. And I can tell you, I've experienced this. We'll point fingers and say, you guys are spending too much money. You just got $6 million, $7 million for carryover. These are different funding sources, and they can only be used for certain things. This is specific for transportation. We cannot use the carryover. We cannot use net school spending for any of these activities. Similar to buildings, we cannot do building improvement with net school spending funds. So I think as a body and school department, we have to do a better job educating, sharing some of these information with other individuals. So when we say we need more funds from the city or we need more funds for this, the conversation doesn't just loop around, you have more funds, you have these funds, why are you not using them? But then I share very similar concerns with my colleagues. Medicare has been a topic of conversations. Mayor Rodriguez hopefully will take a look and we can discuss, sharing some of the profit, the income that's going to the city. And hopefully we'll start looking more closely at our finance as far as meeting and discussing. But also we have to consider giving the department time to prepare the budget. They draft the initial budget that we then get to revise, ask questions, move funds around, and direct as where we want more funds to be allocated and programs and things like that. So it comes to us working collaboratively to make sure we go through the process smoothly. Thank you.
Are we done talking about the money? We're good?
Not quite. The conversation will continue, so.
Anyone else?
Statement. I already emailed you my wish list. I just want to make sure that with all this budget cuts, well, not cuts, sorry, with all this budget talks, that we want to make sure that the students are not being directly impacted. And I'm talking about specific service for us to protect, which is teachers, right? School adjustment counselors, the principals. I want to make sure that we're not going to be taking anything away. If anything, we should be adding more.
Thank you.
Sorry. Not to put you on the spot. I know there was always an April deadline for notification to staff. What is the May deadline?
May 15th is our earliest deadline.
Again, not to put you on the spot. I know there are times that we have to, it's part of a procedure that we have to notice employees. Will we need to notice anyone? Any groups, a specific number? I just don't want to get everyone all in a frenzy, but I just want to make sure that we have enough time to meet if we have to notice, because May 15th is not that far away. Okay.
So right now, we actually, sorry, I can pull up some
And I'm only
numbers
saying this
right
because when
now.
I first came on the committee, that's all we did every year. That's all we did. And then COVID hit, and that was just unique that we didn't have to do that, which was nice because we gave everyone stability. Not that there's anything being cut. Again, I don't want to put the community in a frenzy, but I just want to make sure we meet our deadlines and that we're not rushing last minute to make sure that notices do go out. And I know there were times they would just send out the notices because they had to be sent by a specific time.
So, right now, our vacancy list, because we will be posting positions, is about, it's about 250, 263. However, we also have 120 people or 120 waivers. So that means folks who are not certified or have an emergency extension. So we do have to post those positions and then determine, sort of what happens next. Because we have so many vacancies in the district, like I was saying before, I can't give you an exact number right now, but my hope is to impact as few people as possible. But I don't want to give a number and then have it not be right.
Okay, no, definitely. But we would have more of an idea, or at least within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you. 260 plus vacancies. With the impact on this pension obligation, would it be fair to say with your assessment, and I know it's early on, that it's more of not filling those actual vacancies, or would there be an impact on if we do get hit another extra 10? And I'm going to be honest and frank with this, and I haven't been wrong, and I will praise Dr. Clarkson. We are going to get hit with this. There's no way. I haven't been wrong. I have not been wrong, and I truly believe we're going to get hit with this, and I hope it doesn't increase. I hope we honestly don't, but I don't have confidence. I that's just me. If anybody else, I just don't have the confidence. If we get hit with this amount, we have to present this. If we get hit with this amount, what does that really look like? And then the SOA disappears, what it's really going to look like, because it's not.
Was
Doesn't
PJ
look
at the
good.
meeting earlier today?
He's on.
Why don't we ask him?
Is he still on?
Mhm.
PJ, are you on?
I'm here. Yes.
Did
What's the question?
Go ahead, what's the question?
So if we get hit with this added, 10 million, give us say, on top of what we're supposed to, because the law says that, it's the law. What would be the impact with the vacancies that we have now? Is it just not a backfill, or are we going to look at, more than 264 positions
So to answer that question, I want to back up 1 second. We're still trying to figure out what the amount of the pension appropriation should be for the school department for fiscal 27, as it relates to what Troy sent over earlier today. The number in the middle column represented, had the city done nothing and let the normal costs go where they go as it relates to pension and health and benefits, that would have been that 30 million mark. So I'm not 100% sure of exactly what the appropriation is going to be, and I think that needs to be filtered out as Troy and his team sell the last $60 million in bonds and give it to the retirement system, because they're going to reset it and redo another actuarial evaluation cost by the actuaries of what it's going to be. We're going to go back in and BPS and look at, as Desi requested, look at the percentage again to see if anything's changed. We're confident 62.5 or 62.4, or whatever the number is at the moment. We're confident that out of the pay data we have from the pay codes that have the deductions, that is indeed accurate. It's just a matter of, what does the principal look like? What does the interest look like? And how does that filter out? And for what Priya and I were talking about earlier today, the number is nominal for fiscal 27. We just need to know if there's going to be an escalation of costs related to principal and interest. Because if you're doing interest only for a little while, that's low. But then if you jack up the principal in the middle of it, that is going to have a problem, or going to cause a problem potentially. Then you take away Student Opportunity Act funding, that could be another problem. So we're trying to project out, but I think what I'm hearing, and I got to confirm with Troy, is that this money for 27 isn't going up super high, but they also haven't sold the debt. And I want to make sure I look at the full debt schedule, which we got at 4 o'clock, so I have to digest it a little bit more. So that's a long answer to your short question. Is we don't know what it means in terms of positions. I don't want to send anyone, as a committee member said, like, we don't want to send anyone into a frenzy. Like, we just need a little bit more time to digest everything and to put it into the net school spending terms. And the vice chair, you're absolutely right. We got to talk about the pockets of money because it's not clean and neat for the public. Period. Like, we just need to be able to articulate what it is. I know I've met with this group many, many times, but I'm sure the public doesn't really tune in as much as they might for a net school spending conversation. So, but we do need to have that conversation because it is very clearly articulated how all this works, and it's prescribed by the law. To go to the leases, it becomes the city's responsibility after 3 years for leases related to education facilities. That is designed by law. And if they're education facilities, that's a conversation that we're going to need to have. If it's transportation, that's automatically on the city and part of the non-net. So there's so many moving pieces, and I don't know if I just confused everybody, but there's so many moving pieces that it's hard to say we're landing on this number for fiscal 27, therefore, and that's what Priya, Sarah, and I are doing right now, is coming down with that final number so we can start making some decisions, in our case, recommendations to the school.
I mean, when we, superintendent, when working with our consultants and obviously our finance, all the finance folks, to make sure that, this is properly budgeted. And, it's not like we're here to say we're going to bankrupt the city, because that's going to affect everything. Hopefully not. And I pray that it doesn't come to that. But I would like to see the projection out showing this is what we have. And if we do lose the SOA, this is what we're going. This is where the impact is. And obviously with those title grants that, that affects that. And, obviously with the pension, with the law, we understand we owe that with the Schedule 19 chargebacks. Obviously we talk about the Medicaid reimbursement. We need to maximize that, something that we definitely need to look at, because it's what missing piece that we're only getting a certain amount, and you have a smaller district getting millions. So we have to do a better job doing that. And the other piece, and I know it falls on the city, with the facilities, we do have to, our capital improvement plan, looking at that, what the cost is of that. And when we talk about our non-net spending, if the committee can receive documents, and see, the last 5 years, this is how non-net was actually allocated, because, last year, and I don't want to go back to who's bailing who out. We did use circuit breaker to pay the remainder of transportation. That's something that I've always, I've voiced it to you, so that I'm not in favor of, because that money should go right back to the students, and that's a very vulnerable population of students that we can service on that. So if we can get that presented to us when the budget is presented to us, how we paid for it. And I know there's a lot of data that wasn't taken in, but where those funding sources came from, so we can get a clearer picture, and the public can know these are where these dollars are going at. You can't spend. Trust me, if we could take some of that carry over and spend it on facilities, the mayor knows that. What I'll do with that. Some of the members, our facilities specifically for our students. When it comes to athletics, and we lose a lot of that. So if we can get that presentation and get some more data on that, that'd be great. so some of the members can kind of digest it so we can make a corrective decision when we approve the overall budget.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. I just also want to make sure that the folks that are watching us at home know this. There are 3 bargaining units in city government with a budget large enough for you to take something from them in order to put it somewhere else. That's police, fire, and DPW. Now, we can talk about all we want to talk about, the things that we need to get money from here, not money from there. But you got to remember, we all live in this community, and we have to go back to the community and tell them why we don't have enough police, we don't have enough fire, or our roads look the way they do because we don't have the people to take care of it. There's no funding does not come from any place else other than those 3 major departments. We got to keep that in mind. So that's why I think it's important for us to work collaboratively, as close as we possibly can, to make sure we do our due diligence in finding every dollar that's out there for us to bring it into this community. We're trying to raise rubbish fees by about $40 per person. You would be shocked by the number of people that actually have responded in a negative way towards that raise. The problem is there's a shortfall that was signed by the previous mayor last year of about $1 million+ that we now have to come up with. Either we come up with that or the trash doesn't get picked up. You know, it's that simple. It's not me in my 3 months, 1 day, and 12 and a half hours now. You know, but we need to be aware of all of this stuff. It's easier to point fingers. And that's why when I first set foot in this building on day 1, I said, listen, I think we need to almost let the past be the past and work on what we can to do into the future. I mentioned earlier today that we did find some money to do Marciano Stadium. That money would have come from the coffers of the city. And if that had come from the coffers of the city, it would have cost somebody's job. We found money that we will do Electric Ave by the Downing School that hasn't been touched in 40 years. But we found the money. It didn't come out of the city's coffers. It's coming from somewhere. That's why we got to be creative enough to come up and find these things. Because if we don't do this thing together, it's not going to work. I mean, that's what I told the secretary the other day on the phone. If I have to come up with $5, $6, $7 million, you might as well come and take the keys from the city and let somebody else run it. Because we have no place to basically do this. We're not a wealthy community, and we all know that. And these funds have to come from somewhere, but it's not going to come from anywhere other than the taxpayers. And if we can't sell a $40 quarterly increase for trash with the bigger barrel, at least we were able to negotiate a bigger barrel for people to be able to throw their trash out. Imagine what it's going to be like when you go back and say, we're going to have to increase your taxes by this. And by the way, you're going to have to do a debt exclusion so we can build a new high school. And then when they say, well, but you're just taking money for X, Y, and Z, how are we going to convince the folks that we need to do that? So that's why I think I heard a little bit of the discussion that took place earlier today, but I think we got to be smarter about this. And I mentioned this to the superintendent. This has to be all hands on deck. Where we can save $1 here, we need to save $1 there. Where we can save $1 here, we need to save that $1 so that we're able to put our resources together and basically get this high school done. That is right now, I mean, I go to bed dreaming about this high school. I get up thinking about it because it's that important to me and important to all of us. You know, but we need to kind of get our minds together and figure out exactly how to do this, because we can't just go back and say, well, the city owes us this much, pay up. So, you know, let's figure out exactly, can we figure out a way to get the funds from somewhere else to come in so that it's not coming from the taxpayers of the community that we need to go back to and ask to bail us out in terms of helping us build this school. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here, because there is no such thing as city side, school side, one side, and it's the taxpayers and the residents of the city. All right. Items to be referred to subcommittee. Anything? Good. Oh, go ahead. Mr. Rodriguez.
So, Superintendent, April 28th, we'll do the bid review? Or do we want to?
Yes, if that's okay. Right now, I believe we have a
Food service?
a finance subcommittee on that meeting that night too, but we don't have a regular school committee, so we could do a finance and we could do a bid,
So we do bid then finance?
or, yeah, whatever you want.
All right, so what are you looking, so can we just tee it up for a 6 PM start for bid and then 7 PM finance?
That works.
Does that work for everybody? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Is there any way you can do your finance committee meeting on a day other than when you have a school committee meeting?
We can.
So that you don't
It
have to
depends
worry
on-
about the time frame and all that other stuff, and you can discuss?
At length, yeah.
I don't think the bid review is going to be that long because it's only
But that Tuesday
food
also,
service.
we don't have a regular meeting.
Yeah.
It's not a
It's
regular.
just a finance, so it should be fine. 28th, the Tuesday.
Mr. Pina?
Yes, I would like to refer to facilities, the foyer in the high school gym for further review.
Foyer?
I believe that's what they call it, yeah, right?
Yeah.
I talked to Ken Thompson, and he has the information for us, and we just need to get a facilities subcommittee.
Okay. Is that in the form of a motion?
Does it need to be?
I think so.
I would like to make a motion to refer the rebuilding or whatever.
The foyer?
Yeah, the foyer of the rebuilding of the foyer to the facility subcommittee.
Second?
I just want more
Well,
clarification.
say second first, and then we can talk. All right, on the motion.
On the motion, what are we talking about rebuilding the foyer? Because, you know, we are dealing with a new renovation of the high school, and I don't think.
Maybe just patch it up, is that what you're looking at?
I'm just trying to.
Patch it up. Because we're still like 5 years away.
Yeah, we said,
so
but
we have to
I just didn't want something where we're going to try to refer it, and then obviously, I don't know, you know, what that conversation is as far as funding, because
Yeah,
if it's a certain amount.
Some repairs, is that what you're talking about? Like maybe a little paint job? No?
Are we talking about the stairs?
Stairs, yeah.
Okay, okay, that's
VHS,
okay.
That sounded
I
pretty
thought
good.
when you
paint
say
job.
when you're saying the foyer, I'm thinking like that whole area up top
Inside.
going into the gym. So it's like, what are we doing?
Jim, yeah.
Just the foyer.
It's just the stairs. All right, whatever we want to call it, foyer stairs. Okay, I thought because yeah, there's a lot of
So no paint job?
no big job.
All those in favor? Oppose? Okay, it's referred. Anything else? Go ahead, man.
Thank you. Can we get an update on the Keith Field? Can we, I spoke with one of our attorneys. She was going to reach out.
Yes.
We definitely need an update because we're in April. We're
I
going on
just
6
noted down
years.
boys and girls update as well.
Perfect.
In the last conversation, I mean, we were supposed to have that meeting, but then the snow and it got rescheduled. But with the new city solicitor that came in, so I had to bring them. Mr. Rodriguez was there as well. Their advisement was that it wouldn't be, because we wanted to vote on it so we can move the matter forward and have the city council and the city take up the remainder of the work. However, the advisement of the city solicitor and our attorney was that we needed to do a title review to make sure there's no revert back clause, anything that would hinder the progress of the project or even take that land and everything else away from either us or the Boys and Girls Club. So that's in process. They're doing the title review. I've been communicating with the boys and girls and their attorney. They had one that apparently was done in 2022. I could be wrong about the date. So they've recently shared that with myself, and then it has been shared with the city solicitor and the attorney. So once they review that, I just noted, the foyer and the stairs, and I noted boys and girls, because if we do that, we'll do both of them together, so we can do the update. And if we have to vote, hopefully we do, we can vote on the matter and move it forward.
If we can provide the committee a copy of that title, is it a title review or a title rundown? I'm assuming they're the same.
It says that's why I'm.
I know them
having
as title
the-
rundowns,
yeah.
but I don't know what a title.
I know
could
you and
be.
I spoke about the
Yeah.
deeds
So
and
if they can
stuff,
just
but-
provide this, so we can take a look at it, because I know there were restrictions specific on the deed. It specifically states restrictions on there and what can and can't be done. So if we can just get a copy of that for the committee prior to the meeting.
Any material that's going to be presented will be
Perfect.
shared.
I'm sure it's going to be lengthy, but
It is.
I know I'd like to take a look at the title rundown.
So the city solicitor and the attorney have it. They're reviewing it, and then will be shared with
Yeah,
the
if we
whole
can just put a
committee.
little push.
Believe me, I've been trying.
No, because you know what, and I will say it on camera, they're blaming us, and it's our attorney. I think my battery's dying. So again, it comes back to the committee. It's really not us. We're going by our attorney's advisement. So again, it's been dragging on, and we keep asking, and it takes months. It shouldn't take months. So we just need to either just wrap this up, see what needs to be done, if anything can be done. But we got to put a little push. And if it's something that we need to bring on a specialist, then bring on an attorney that just focuses on something specific. So that just
I think that's exactly what we're doing, at least from the solicitor's side.
bring in a specialist.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not everyone's forte. Like again, it just might not be that type of law that we might need to just bring in someone.
Yeah, he knows
Again,
somebody that actually does that specifically for city-owned properties or something like that. So
Yeah, just given the nature and the history on this, it's a little unique. So especially where it was the original armory too. So we need to make sure restrictions. Again, I don't want to start discussing something off topic, but if we can just.
I mean, it is being referred.
Perfect.
Basically, so.
Yeah, if we can just get a meeting in the books and.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it down. So when we do the facilities to talk about the foyer, I'll add them there. Hopefully, we'll have the title review reviewed and make sure everything is.
Motion to add it. We just need a facilities update. I mean, we need an update, and that goes under facilities. You're special. So
There was no motion. I was gonna put it on the agenda.
go ahead, Mr.
I know we're doing like these motions to put things, but we've never had an issue. It's through the vice chair and whoever chairs it. It's just working together. So when I talk about team, like, hey, can we add this to the agenda? And if it can't, it'll be on a further one. We all, not shutting nobody down. But there's a lot of stuff, and I know I'm not going to make a motion on the floor. There's a lot of stuff that when I was chairing facilities, that's still kind of
work in progress.
That can we just get an update on this or certain things? It's, just sending that request. So, but I understand some members want to make their motion to make sure it's there on record, and they do it. But we've never had.
It's saying when it's something brand spanking new and you want to refer it to a subcommittee, then you could do that. But if it's just an addendum or something, then so be it.
So there's a lot of things relative to facilities and that for example update on our capital improvement plan, which obviously is the schools to draft that up, and it's also working with the city because it's just one big plan, and how we fund that, what our priorities are to that. So we do have to address that, get that list, because here is another thing with our capital improvement with our schools, where we can take that and use that as members and advocate for more funding from the state to make sure to pay for these
State,
projects.
federal government,
federal
a bunch
government,
of other
all that.
stuff.
So, thank you. You got to take a vote.
No.
Oh.
And one thing, I do chair building naming. So can we just go ahead and do an unveiling of the Mr. McCreena and Carol Thomas stage? It's been covered for the past 2 years. I don't think we need a building naming meeting. We as a committee can just go ahead and schedule the unveiling, invite them. It's been already unveiled and they put it right back up. So it wasn't officially unveiled and dedicated. So if we can just, we don't need a meeting to do that. So if we can just go ahead and schedule that as a committee. I make a motion
Now,
to.
that needs a motion. Go
I
ahead.
make a motion to do the final dedication of the Vincent Macrina and Carol Thomas stage at Brockton High School's auditorium. We schedule that as a committee and do the official unveiling.
Just on the
On that motion?
Yeah, on the motion, just us to be aware that there's musical happening for Chicago, so we got to make sure if we have the space in the area for the dedication, because I know the spring concert, the musicals for May 15, 16, 17, there's a lot of other concert happening.
just
So
need to just take the
Just
material
take
off
the
the
covering
stage.
off. It
yeah,
might-
but we don't know like what the stage will be when they do in the Chicago, so we got to make sure what is the set will look like, if there's going to be
Where's the plaque
some-
or?
It's all
right on
along-
the
It's
on
the
the
all along
stage.
the rim of the stage. Anytime between now and the beginning of the school year.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
From
because
now to the
then-
beginning of the school year, I think they deserve an official dedication.
Do we have any events coming up at
Yeah,
the
we could do it with the
auditorium?
musical.
Why not do it at the musical?
Yeah, we can do the musical. Just find out exactly where the stage is coming to, the sets, and if it's not blocking, we can do it too.
It's
before-
right on the edge. It's right here, right on the front of the stage.
Yeah, but sometimes the set.
I don't think the set's going to be on the. It's on the.
Yeah,
end
but
of-
we don't know like how they're gonna build the set for Chicago.
Okay.
Like if it's gonna come out more in the front, so we gotta like wait and see what they're doing.
I think we do it before Chicago, you know, a few minutes before Chicago, and just do it, and everybody claps, and we sit down and watch Chicago.
I think that would
All
be
right.
nice to do it during the musical. You'll have a lot of people there, and I think that would be really nice.
All right, so a motion was made, properly second. All those in favor? All right, so we'll do that. Shall we say Chicago? Okay, Chicago.
What are the dates for that?
Not Boston, not LA, but Chicago.
No, 15, 16, and 17.
Hmm?
Give her the dates.
For Chicago? Okay, Chicago. All right. Is there anything else going to subcommittee? That's it? Madam Clerk, continue, please.
Okay, Roman numeral 4 is the consent agenda.
Anything we want to take out of the consent agenda? Yes, ma'am.
Not so much remove it, but I just clarification on item F. Clarification, our first school committee meeting will be the first day of school, which is a Thursday, correct? I apologize. School close, school committee meeting dates, yes. Sorry. Will that allow the superintendent and the staff, usually it's the next day.
Mm-hmm.
That'll give
Is that
enough
okay?
time? Okay.
Yeah.
To prepare? Or
Mhm.
should we just move it to the following?
Oh, it's up to you guys.
Usually they do the back-to-school report,
Mhm.
and that'll just be the same day.
All right,
Okay.
so your motion need to take that out?
No, I just want clarification,
Okay.
just to make sure. Okay.
All right. Anything else? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve consent agenda A, B, C, D, E, F.
Second.
Motion has been properly made in second. All those in favor? It passes, it carries.
I believe I need to read it to the record.
Oh, go
Okay,
right
so
ahead, ma'am. Please do.
Item A is approval of the regular school committee meeting minutes from March 17th, 2026. B is the approval of the athletics, arts, music, extracurricular subcommittee meeting minutes from March 17th, 2026. C is approval of a field trip for Promise College and Career Academy to Canopy Lake Park on June 3rd, 2026. Item D is approval of school committee dates, the summer schedule. Item E is approval of 2026-2027 school committee meeting dates. And item F is the approval of the school closing dates for 2025-2026 school year.
Good.
And moving on to Roman numeral 5 is unfinished business.
Any unfinished business? Yes, Mr. Pina.
I would like to thank the mayor for what you did with the traffic, and especially at the George School, obviously, but also at some of the other schools, as our own police force has been slightly diminished. the city taking back up the traffic. We greatly appreciate it, and it's been noticed, and I've been told by people that it's been noticed. So I wanted to make sure that I thank you for that, and the citizens thank you, or the residents that have talked to me thank you for that as well.
No, thank you. Thank you. And one of the things that we have about 7 young police officers probably hitting the streets somewhere around the beginning of May. And you'll see a lot more of this coming up because traffic enforcement is key. And you should see the numbers of what they have done in about with 3 officers or so in about a month and a half. It's been pretty good. Mr. Pina.
Rodriguez.
I'm Mr. Rodriguez.
Oh, boy, what are you doing, man?
I only have the same last name. You know how it is.
And I said this, and thank you for that with the traffic enforcement, but let's just be realistic here because there is, we don't want to be ticketing families. Let's hope that our officers are giving them that leniency. I know how it is, being a young officer, and I don't want to say they're gun ho, but at the same time, that like this is a poor community, and these are parents that are dropping their kids off and picking them up. That we're not putting another financial burden on them when it comes to. I know we have a big issue with traffic within our schools, but there needs to be some type of leniency when it comes to that enforcement, move along and stuff like that. But we just don't want to come into this thing where, we have to send a message and we're just ticketing these families. And it'll be, we don't want a parent saying, you know what, I'm not taking my kids to school, because that happens because they're going to get a ticket, and it's putting more constraints on how, educating these families. So we just want to make sure that we look at that and not ticketing these families.
No, on that note, if you look at the numbers, they had 515 traffic stops. They issued 430 verbal warnings, and only the citations were only 191. So,
no, I totally agree. But I mean, like I know in the city, now,
so they're being conscious about it, just moving people along, but at the same time, those that are being a little hard-headed.
Yes, no, I totally agree with that. But when it comes to like the schools itself, like just because I know like around the city, there's so many accidents. We understand that the traffic enforcement is definitely needed. But when it comes to the schools and moving people along, we just don't want to be ticketing families because this is a very poor community.
We told them that, just kind of, be present, be visible, and just, but again, move people along. And they need to know that you can't park in people's driveways. You can't park on sidewalks, blocking, entrances in and out of places, because we got to have, law and order in this city as well. So, go ahead, Miss Oliver.
I completely, just to piggyback off of Mr. Rodriguez, I do understand that we are financially not the best in the city, and I know a lot of our families are struggling, but also at the same time, we as adults need to think about like students that's walking around and also on the bikes, and we got to be respectful of the people's neighborhood property. And I think that if you continue to do the same thing over and over and expect different outcome, you should be fined. And I think that the amount of like ways, even dropping my child in the morning to like not get hit by another car, it's like, be responsible. There's like another parent with their own kids in their car, and you should not be speeding in a school area and trying to, go around other cars so you can get there before the next car, and running stop signs and not thinking about another child in the car that you could also kill, and now there's a parent without a child. So I think it's something that as an adult we need to think about, and how we're driving in a city. I truly am so grateful for what you're doing, because the fact that I pay more insurance here than I used to pay in New York, it's embarrassing. But I think it's something that I really appreciate, that you're making the community safer in that aspect, because I don't think people understand what the stop sign means in the city anymore. It's just go for it. So I think it's something that we need to be more strict about. And I definitely understand the parents. We got to talk to them and give them few, warnings. But if they continue doing it, something like you got to stop at the end of the day.
Thank you. Anybody else? Awesome.
Okay, Roman numeral 6 is new business. The first item is discussion and potential vote for bid review subcommittee meeting April 7th, 2026. I would like to postpone that until when we have the bid review subcommittee on April 28th.
Motion to postpone.
Motion has been properly made in second. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? It carries.
Thank you. The second item is discussion and potential vote around the policy manual subcommittee meeting for March 24th, 2026.
Any discussions? Mr. Pina.
The Policy Manual Subcommittee met on March 24th in the Little Theater of BHS. In attendance was myself, Member Gomes, and Member Oliver. Member Sullivan was not in attendance. Quorum criteria was met. At that time, the subcommittee policy manual, we reviewed the school committee policy manual sections J and K. Each section had been reevaluated in relation to mask recommendation and the school committee attorney, Sarah Spatafor. It was the consensus of the subcommittee that sections J and K be approved as presented. At this time, I would ask that the full school committee approve this verbal report of the policy manual subcommittee and also approve the revised policies as presented.
Second, and on the motion.
I think she was first.
On that motion,
Go for it.
what were those policies? They're not attached. So what was
You
policy?
you were given the book.
Yeah, but we're voting on something. It needs to be attached.
It's in the book. We gave you the book.
Yeah, I get it, but we're voting on something. It should be attached to our agenda if we're voting on a policy.
It's a really big book. It's like this big. You have it. You were all given it.
I get it, but if we're voting on J and K, what are the policies offhand? What were they for?
It's a big book.
I can.
Okay, well,
May I?
procedurally, we're voting on policies that we don't have in all of J and all of K.
Yeah, you were provided them.
I get it, but we're voting on something that's not attached to our agenda.
Well, let me listen to the vice chair here. Go ahead.
Before I was gonna second and then on the motion explain that.
You guys sat in on the
I know.
meeting. The rest of the committee didn't.
I was gonna explain that the policies that we're voting on is the ones that we already have. I understand most of them are minor updates and adding things that MASC have recently opted into their own structure. But I know you had reached out to me, and that's where I referenced the book, because we all got the book with those policies and everything in them. We can definitely share. I mean, we have it. So I'm not too sure.
For point of reference.
And just to add, sorry to cut you off, it's a lot of pages too. It's like just the J and K section.
I understand that, but a subcommittee met on it, but the rest of the committee, I didn't know which policies were, it doesn't even say J and K on here. You guys met on it. So that's what I'm saying is the rest of the committee, I had no clue to look at J and K. You as a committee met on it, but the rest of the committee didn't. So we need a little more. I'm going to vote on something I didn't even look at. So it could be just basic clerical changes, but if you're expecting me to vote on something, tell me what I'm voting on so I can look it up in the book. So I'm not trying to be difficult, but where does it say J and K on here? So
We can.
Oh,
that's
hold
my
on a
argument.
second.
I'm gonna motion to postpone it.
So you were there, and who else?
Miss Oliver.
Oliver. And you three voted on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, unfortunately, with democracy, the way things work is a motion has been made. Second, I'm going to ask for a vote. Those that aren't willing to vote for it, don't vote for it. Those that want to vote for it, will vote for it, and we'll move it along. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, we have new members here, and some members gone on that serve on that. This is just, I did watch a little bit of that, and just my recommendation for the committee moving forward with those policies. We got the book. If those changes come after we got the book, so if I got this and we change the policy, I don't have it. So some of those changes should be redlined.
They are.
Given to the committee, because usually we usually have those policies that do get amended it is embedded. I would go back and look at some of the,
Well, how about
agendas.
if we do it this way, Tony? How about if we just get it electronically sent to the members so we can look at it? What is that?
No, I was going to say.
No, I'm saying for reference purposes, so that we can always, remember, this committee has the ability to change things as we go along.
Correct.
So-
Yeah. So one of the, I still have the floor, but the other thing is if, just moving forward, and I know I spoke to you about it, that when you're just naming them and just taking a vote, like, for the public to know as well, that this is what the changes is going to be. I mean, PowerPoint, I know it's a lot that you guys review, put it on the screen or so forth, just so we
Just
know
the
exactly
summation
what
of
those,
what was done.
yeah, what those changes are. Because, if I didn't watch the meeting or know what those policies, didn't get a chance to review those documents, I don't know what those changes are, if I agree with it or not, but I don't disagree with it, but it's just to clean it up a little bit more so we don't have any members that feel frustrated that things are going to be voted on and we didn't get a chance to actually physically review
All right,
those documents.
so, Madam Centello.
Well, I'm with you, Isaac. Like the book is very thick. So if you guys made some changes to K and J, I'm not sure how I was supposed to know to really look at those two sessions. I think what you're saying, I'm in agreement. Like if there was some changes that was made, I would like to know, or at least documented that it was revised or no change was made or there was some minor changes. Because like you said, the book is very thick.
Just to be clear, I was cleaning up from what was not done the past 2 years. Those were done 2 years ago from a contractor. So we didn't add anything, and it was given to us to ensure that the changes were put into effect so that they could then be uploaded into the site. So then we could then look at them to be able to see them, because the amount of work it takes to then put those, there were 95, I believe, policies. If you have a recommendation as to how, if we put 95 policies, this would have been like this thick. I'm a hunter, so I like to save trees, but
because I hear the wishes, and I agree. I would love to see things that I'm voting on as well. Not to discredit, the subcommittee that went through and reviewed everything. We made sure I read all the policies and all the updates.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
sure.
that much.
Yeah, sure.
But what we could do then, we can postpone voting on it, approving it, and then the chair of that subcommittee could send an email as to the policy, which is just J and K, and then you guys already
I
have.
honestly think we vote for it. We vote for it. And that send the changes to the members if there's some.
They have it.
they have it.
Okay, so you have the changes, and if there's some issues with the changes, then we'll bring it back and tweak it as we go along.
Okay, here's the thing.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I have no problem. We can save the trees. We have the book. But if we're voting on it, just tell us what we're voting on. I'll open the book and I will check it and read the policies. But nowhere on here did it say J and K. So that's all I'm just saying is you're expecting us to vote on policies that a few of the members that don't serve on that committee did not open the book or know. I thought we would have them tonight or something. And I didn't watch the meeting. Part of it I did, but I didn't know there were that many. It's fine. We just need to know what we're voting on.
Very
One,
good.
save the trees.
Gotcha.
Two, we can all talk about policies, but there's one policy we're questioning, and that's putting things on the agenda. So I'm not going to rubber stamp something without reading policies because other people have gone ahead and said this is fine, and now we're trying to get clarification on one policy on adding things on. So again, doing our job, you got to be extra cautious. You can't just rubber stamp stuff and say others looked at it. I want to look at these policies. They are a few years old. You know, they were, I think, back to 21, 22, maybe 23. I think Mrs. Sullivan had worked on that, and they just let it go. So I think I can refrain from voting. If you have the quorum, go ahead. But I prefer to look at the policies I'm going to be voting on.
Just for clarification, on the March 20th bulletin, it said what we were voting on, and in that email, it had all of the updates in that email that was sent to the members.
Okay, but it's April 7th. I mean,
All right. A motion has been properly made in second. All those in favor of accepting that report? All those opposed? It carries. Next one.
Thank you. So the last item is discussion and potential vote approval to hire supervisor of attendance Jordan Cruz. At this time, I would actually request to postpone this item. I know there were a lot of questions about this position previously, and this has nothing to do with the person who's being recommended. They are an internal candidate who is wonderful. However, after our conversation last time, I would like to bring forward these positions as part of the budget so that we can discuss them more thoroughly. So at this time, I would like to postpone.
Yeah. I like the kid too. Go ahead, Mr. Rodriguez.
Obviously, just, because, I worked, I don't want to say a lot with the attendance, and that brought me to filing a resolution to raise the age of dropout from 16 to 18, which is working its way up to the legislature. And I know he's worked in, is this just a reclassification of the supervisor? Because it was attendance officer. So is this just a reclassification of just his title?
So again, it was so that is what why I would like to wait, because there has been so many changes in that office. And I think it was clear that there has been some confusion about the positions and how they've evolved and changed over time, which is why I would prefer that we pause on this and that I have the ability to communicate all those changes, the evolution over time, and present it to this committee.
Sounds good.
Motion to postpone hire of the supervisor attendance position.
Second.
On the motion, go ahead, Ms. Cynthia.
So what is going to happen to this position for this particular candidate here?
So right now, they are an internal candidate, and they will remain in their current position. And then I will come forward to talk about the positions themselves and the evolution of the attendance office over time.
So what we have here, is this did he receive an offer for this role? For this
No,
position?
because the school committee has to approve it.
But we already talked about, we said his name, right? Or no?
Well, it's
Nope.
just, well, I did because I read it into the record because it is on the agenda, but I'm still requesting to postpone. And sorry, what is your
I
question?
guess I just want to make sure that even with the changes, that he's already been interviewed, we already have the letter that we're offering him the role, the position, that this position is still going to go to him.
That, again, would be the vote of this body.
Okay.
Once we discuss the positions themselves, then any hire of any supervisor of attendance would come before this body for approval.
But we're not re-advertising the position.
We are doing nothing at this point.
Okay. All right, so a motion
Sorry to
has
be-
been made and second. All those in favor of postponement? All those opposed? It carries. Next one, then.
Roman numeral 7 is the school safety and security, and no, we have
That
no
is
update
good.
from the police liaison. Okay, Roman numeral 8 are announcements.
Any announcements? Ms. Azak.
Not so much an announcement, but at the beginning of the meeting, we took a moment of silence to recognize school committee member Brett Gormley, who I had the pleasure of serving with for 4 years on the committee. So we just wanted to send out our, deepest sympathies to Brett's family, his wife, his children. And I know I reached out to the superintendent's office, and I'd like to invite his family, hopefully maybe sometime in May, and recognize Brett and all that he did on the school committee. It's a major loss for Brockton Public Schools. Brett was not just a school committee member, but, served so much, whether he was, teaching or sports or just being involved with his children here. So I would definitely want to reach out and tonight was his wake, and tomorrow, for those that don't know, is the funeral. You can see the obituary online. I believe it's Russell Pica. But I know a few other members. I wasn't sure if anyone wanted to say anything, but it's been a emotional day. So, you know, it's sad. Very young, very fast. Sometimes you don't realize what an impact someone has on a community till they're gone. And just reading a lot of the memorial messages out there are just amazing. And we lost a really good guy that I had the pleasure of working with. And I'll say it again when we invite the family, but we had 4 brand new members that came on that committee that year. It was myself, Mr. DiAgostino, and Ms. Plant. And I know we called ourselves the Fantastic Four, but you know, it was unique to have 4 brand new members that came on a committee all at one time after you had longtime sitting members. So this committee that we have now, I tell some of the other members, I go, you'd be proud to serve with some of these committee members. It's different. It's a totally different table that we're sitting on. And I'm seeing a lot of positive that we're doing as a group. You know, the 4 of us came on years ago, but the 7 of us with the chair and the superintendent, we can make changes. You know, there's a lot of us and we all have some amazing ideas. So I had the pleasure of serving with him, and I have the pleasure of serving with you guys. So for those that know him, I know some have gone to school with him. He was a Brockton High alum. Was it class of 97, 98? So yeah, he's gonna get me going. So, but yeah, just thinking of the Gormley family. I know his family's been very involved in Brockton. So it's definitely a sad day, but thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Mr. Pena.
The chief of police sent out the junior cadet program. I wanted to touch base on that. My twins, both 18 years old, went through the program, and I have to say that it was a extremely well thought out and really good program. They both have fond memories of it, and hopefully that if anybody is interested in joining the junior cadet program, I'm trying to look at the information. I believe it's at if you go to thebrocktonpolice.com/community -programs // cadet-program. You can find out more information, but it is, and I'll be sharing it as well. Hopefully everyone else shares it on their social media as well. It is along with the fire department's program, which I believe the fire department was trying to outdo the junior cadet program, which is a good way to have a little fun in competition. But I think that both programs, if anybody is able to do them, the ages are 14 to 16. It is a worthwhile program.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Rodriguez.
I knew Brett since middle school, actually elementary school. Playing sports, midget football, we called it back then, but we weren't midgets, so I hated the name. But and throughout high school, it is very sad. He just celebrated a birthday. I'm on this committee because of Brett. And working with him, the subcommittee of athletics was something that he wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that it actually happened. And a lot of us have we call it the Gormley dogs. And even my wife made a comment, oh, we should bring Chewbacca, which is Chewie. But he meant a lot to this community. Even after a lot of the initiatives that he wanted to, it just made sense that form of government moves very slow. but he's somebody that stood out for many different reasons. Advocating and with athletics across the district, with being involved with the track club and so many things that Brett stood for. At certain times, I would call him like, Brett, how do you handle this? What do you do? And it got to a point where he was like, one of his words, he said, "I'm glad that you're on the committee, that you were built for this." And I don't think people are just born and built for this. You just have to have that passion. And just to see where we were as kids and colleagues, and everything that he was fighting for, just to, it's very sad just to sit here and just like talk about him, because he's no longer here. Spiritually he is, but I hope that we can do something to honor him, because he deserves that recognition for a lot that he's done. So, and I just, and I know he's listening, I just want to thank him for actually pushing me, because I was one of those individuals that needed that, to basically come in after him to make sure that people told me, yeah, I'm gonna be that shark, and fight for that. So, Brett, miss you. Rest in peace. Hopefully your family has a lot of support for this tough time, and make sure things are good for them. So it's very sad to see somebody at that age suffer that way that he did. So you have to just know Brett. On another note, I know hopefully he's in bed sleeping. I just want to acknowledge a young student at South Middle School in the 7th grade for being number 1 in MCAS and math, and then outperforming the school, the district, and the state. I told him I'll give him a shout out, but he better be in bed. He can watch tomorrow. But also I want to acknowledge all the students in the district. I know North Middle had something today acknowledging all of our students. Those are the things that we want to put out there to show how, the school district leadership, the superintendent, all of us making sure that our students are, breaking that stigma of our education system is broken. It's not just a little fracture, but, we're getting there slowly but surely. And we're going to meet those benchmarks. Thank you. I can't mention him. It's my son. I didn't want to mention his name. I didn't, because he knows. I told him I wasn't going to say his name, but I just wanted to. But it's not just him. There's a lot of
in bed.
There's a lot of students across the districts, and they all need that acknowledgement. And sometimes, we're sitting here and we have our busy lives and certain things that we want, and take that time to actually go and support them, because it's huge to them, like that we are actually like acknowledging that they know that we are fighting for them and that we care. Because sometimes, our schedules get hectic and so much things going on, but it's nice to acknowledge these students and showing them that people are actually watching them, because they look up to us. And I know sometimes some meetings get, very heated at the point. We get frustrated. It's just working on self-control, and getting there. So, and I had to walk out there and tell the CFO, listen, that was nothing personal, but we'll talk down the line. Yep. But it's one of those things that we just have to do a little bit more collaboration.
Miss Oliver.
That's tough to follow. Congratulations. Just to announcement, definitely I want to congratulate the 40 Brockton High School peer mediators earning their teen mental health first aid certification that we partner with Pinnacle Partnership. So I really proud of our students, 40 of them, the great job they're doing. We definitely need more adjustment counselors and psych, maybe they can go into those fields, because we're definitely in desperate need of social workers and psychiatric out there to definitely support our mental health illness that's going around in the world. And definitely I want to upcoming music. Brockton High School will have the jazz concert next week, April 15 at 7 p.m. I just wanted to basically us supporting our students, the residents. It was very, to just see how empty the auditorium was last week during the concert. And our students has worked so hard, and they are performing at the level that they are competing, getting gold and silver to stay. I think we definitely need to be showing up. Even more members need to showing up for this concert, being there, applauding them, and supporting them. And basically, I mean, the ticket was only $5 and it goes to the music department. And I think we need to have more residents coming and showing, make a date night with your, your partners, come and watch our students. But I think it would definitely need to support the music department. And it was really definitely an empty auditorium. And it was really sad to see that our students are looking out and there's nobody supporting them. And I think that we really need, as a community, to start showing up for our students at the games, football games, tracks, and everything else. Instead of just bad-mouthing our students, show up, support them when they're doing good. So I think it's something that we should really come and applaud them next week when they do the Music of Chicago, and also the end concert in May, that we need to be out there. Thank you.
Anybody else? I think that's the end of the agenda. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been properly made. Roll call. Mr. Pina.
Yes.
Ms. Azak. Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Oliver.
Yes.
Mr. Gomes.
Yes.
Ms. Centeo.
Yes.
Having no further business for the children and the people of Brockton, this meeting is adjourned.